You guys are kind of entertaining, but I'm out.
Adam Curry, John C. Dvorak.
It's Sunday, November 9th, 2014. Time for your Gitmo Nation Media Assassination, episode 668.
This is No Agenda.
Removing my entire catalog from Spotify here in FEMA Region 6 in the capital of the Drone Star State, Austin, Tejas. In the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
And from Northern Silicon Valley, where Spotify is rejected, I'm John C. Dvorak.
It's Crackpot and Buzzkill in the morning.
That's right. I am standing beside Taylor Swift. I denounce Spotify.
Kind of old news.
This
is all part of the publicity campaign. This woman is she will be the richest entertainment in the history of entertainment. The richest woman in entertainment in the history of entertainment by the time she's through. She'll be worth, I don't know how many billions.
Yeah, especially if she keeps her music off Spotify.
Well,
that will make her even richer. No, you know.
It was like the last little she was getting published. She was on every show, one after another, just talking about this lame album. Yeah. And then she finally kicks off the whole thing. She finally gets her last bit in with this thing. On spot. And then we won't hear from her for 6 months. I want to talk about publicity in the manner that she does it. Based on, I worked with Adam Osborne, who was a publicity hound, and he had a very interesting theory. And I've always thought about this when people say, "Well, you can do it for good publicity," or whatever they say. He had this thesis that publicity takes the form of a wave, and the only way it's ever effective is if you get a lot of it at once.
Yeah, it has to be just a big tsunami of
tsunami of PR, and that's why she was on the Today Show. She was on all the talk shows. She was here. She was singing on the Good Morning America. Yeah. She was everywhere, and then they just kicked it. They just decided to put the icing on the cake to have this Spotify story played out as though it's news. Who cares what she does with her music? But she either understands this or the people working for her, the publicists working for her they're just at the top of their game.
That said, I do feel that there's a little bit of information needed for people about how these services work. Because I was very interested by this PR move. I paid very close attention to what was being said. And it is apparent to me that pretty much nobody, particularly people who write about this for a living, really know how any of this stuff works. Do you?
Yeah, I know how it works.
Oh.
Or do you think, or are you asking me, do I think that nobody knows what they're doing in the business and they're just, doing what they're doing? No,
I think that the thing that I'd like to just point out is that this is a scam, these Spotify in particular, but Pandora, and now we have another one coming up, SoundCloud. I don't know if you read that they've just signed their first deal with a major label with two more to come who we can't name yet. Well, there's only three that you can name. But I just wanted I just want people to understand that this is a bonanza for record companies, because they are the investors in all of these companies.
Yeah.
But not a lot of people know
that. The artists are the ones that get screwed as usual.
The artists it's even better than that.
Somebody pointed out, millions and millions of downloads can result in like a nickel or a dime to an artist.
Well, here's the thing that's interesting. With Spotify, which is very different from Pandora. Pandora is seen as a streaming, non-interactive service, there's a huge distinction. It's very important. Spotify, they do not pay per stream. This is what people get wrong continuously. So it's not how many times you played the song. They have three different levels of using the music through their system. One is the free with ads. One is the premium, and then you have, I think, the ultimate. And the way they've done it, so when they say, we send 70% of all our revenues to the music, what do they call it? The music community. To the labels, obviously. But the way it's calculated is they look at their entire pot of money, but they split it out in these three groups. So the value of a one play from the advertising pool is lower than from the ultimate pool. And the way they do it is they look at their total revenue for the quarter in these three buckets, and then say, okay, how many plays was that in total? And then then whatever that number is, 70% of that goes to the record companies, and then they chop it down by, okay, we made $100 million this quarter. I don't know what I don't think they made that much, but and you had X number of spins for that $100 million gross revenue. This is your piece of it. So it can differ wildly, not only how well they did overall, but also by revenue pool.
I wonder how many younger folk in our audience say to themselves when after you finish that sentence, what's a spin?
Well, it's like dialing a number on your telephone. It's the same thing.
What's a dialing?
Yeah, same thing. And so what's interesting to me is that the net result, because the vast number of people who use Spotify are really the free users who only who listen with ads, or the premium service. I don't think it's that many ultimate. And these guys are owned by the record companies, who then have zero cost the way they used to. I mean, you have to understand, man, but when they were doing physical product, you have 25% packaging fees of something that still exists on iTunes.
Yeah,
they still charge 25% packaging fee for nothing, for something that's not even packaged anymore. So what really goes to the artist at the end is very low. But the thing that is crazy is the songwriters, so the publishing. So if you and I write a song, then we each would own 50% of the publishing, and that is the fee you get per spin. I'll say it again, for the writer of the song on internet has been determined. I think in 1995 they put together this default amount, and it's so infinitesimally small. That there's no way you can survive as a songwriter. Performer, yeah, you might be able to if you're really selling some product mainly through iTunes. But if you wrote the song, forget about it. So what I love seeing is how people feel that they have such a right to their streams and streaming music on Spotify for their $9.95 a month. But we will wind up with an impoverished art form. It is going to absolutely.
Well, I don't know that we're going to wind up with an impoverished art form. I think, at least from my perspective, all the best music's already been written.
Wow! Come on.
The stuff's coming out now.
Come on. Oh, John.
Okay, well, let's spin the Taylor Swift 1989 album. That's the hot selling product right now. And you're telling me that holds a candle to, say, any Beatles album?
By the way, Beatles not available on Spotify.
Well, there you have it.
Because they still like making money. This is what's so interesting about it. I just love seeing people getting all righteous about Taylor Swift. She's rich, man. Screw her. Screw all these rich artists. $9.95. That's all I should pay for all of my music ever in the world. So SoundCloud is the same thing. It's all about the IPO for the investors, who are the record companies. They're screwing this is the final big screw job.
I don't think so. I don't think it's the final. They're going to find other ways to screw the public.
Oh, it'll continue. But the SoundCloud, when after Spotify IPOs, which is going to happen, then the next one that's lined up is SoundCloud, and there may be another one. But it's the same model over and over again.
If you got a big gun, shoot it.
Yeah, well, I come from the music business.
These guys are geniuses at what they do. That's what they do.
But I come from the music business. I feel bad. I just look at this and go, oh, man.
You're part of the problem.
Why am I part of the problem?
Because you're in that business.
I'm not in that business. I had to get out of that business.
In a kind of absentee way. Yes.
No. That's like saying you're part of the problem in the technology press arena.
Totally.
Yeah, you're right. You are, I guess. Yeah. You are part of the problem.
I am.
You are the problem.
I am the problem. I don't know why you can't take credit where credit is due.
All right. Well, then let me read you from the Wall Street Journal. Do you recall I did an interview with the Wall Street Journal about advertising, podcast advertising?
Yes, I do recall that. This is a moment where we're having a lot of strange publicity circling around the drain of podcasting.
Yeah. And I think I told you that I didn't expect that all to be mentioned in this article. I didn't think the guy was really listening to what I was saying. And I'll say,
why should he?
And I'll say, well, because he called and he said, I want to listen to you.
Yeah, he'd rather talk to Taylor Swift.
No, I don't think so. And I will say again, John, I always say our show. I always say John C. Dvorak, but you know what happens, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you're an inventor of podcasting. Why would they mention anyone else?
Well, but when I talk about our show, I talk about our show, but it rarely is written that way. So we've had words about this in the past. So I just want you to know that the way they wrote it is not because I said it that way.
As long as the show, to be honest about it, as long as they spell the name of the show correctly.
Yes, they did.
Which is the stretch.
So I'll read the. So this is about that derivative podcast from the This American Life people. It's all about it. All these articles are all about NPR podcasts.
They can't possibly make money.
It's all about NPR podcasts. So I'll just grab a couple of little quotes, but I'm at the end with my quote at the end of the article. So the most popular shows aren't exactly cheap. MailChimp, the email marketing company that sponsors Serial, that's that new NPR podcast, says it pays between $25 to $40 CPM.
High.
Which is sorry?
You're paying too much.
On average, pre-roll ads on YouTube cost an average $17 CPM, according to data firm SQAD. Let's just explain that to our listeners, for those who don't know. CPM is cost per mille.
No, yeah, which just means cost per thousand.
Yes, cost per mille. It's French. For some reason, they thought it'd look like snappy advertising talk. Hey,
well,
I know.
I think CPT has a specific meaning that's different, so they had to use CPM.
Oh, really?
I could be wrong, but that's what I'm guessing. It should be CPT.
So the concept here is for every 1,000 people who downloaded the podcast, which of course doesn't mean they heard it, on and on and on. They would charge $25 to $40. And, indeed, 46% of Serial's website views come from mobile devices, so there's 45% come from... Now, this is a guy who writes for advertisers in the Wall Street Journal, advertisers. I think you're now able to grow what used to be a type of content that was only available through download. Now you're able to stream it at any time without having to download it to a device, Mr. Cohen said, of God knows where he's from. As a result, Mr. Cohen said his company's 0% growth prediction was more for the old world of podcasts as they became more akin to internet radio. That forecast had changed, blah-de-blah-de-blah. The concern several years ago was that people were downloading and not listening, said Mark McCreary, CEO of PodTrack. And PodTrack, they do metrics, they count downloads, and they're an ad seller, right? They sell ads to...
Yeah, you commonly will see the PodTrack operation when you're going to a blog or website where there's a link to like the podcast. There'll be an intermediary. If you look at the link itself, it usually goes through... PodTrack and back. You know, what's it's called again? A forwarding thing. I forgot what it is.
The tracker. Let's just call it a ad tracker.
It's a tracker, but it does anyway. But you see this huge URL which has got this other guy's in there.
And then he says that question goes away to the extent that the content is consumed on connected mobile devices. Everyone is trying to compensate for the fact that we don't have a real accredited or viewed as accredited Nielsen rating of podcasts, which they would love to be, but they can't really prove that.
Can't prove a thing.
Of course, not every podcast will be a hit, though MailChimp marketing director Mark DiCristina says he had a feeling it would be a smart buy, largely because of the show's partnership with the successful This American Life program, with which MailChimp also has advertised. Advertising, not under.
Advertise is the word in the column there?
Yes, sirree. Well, I got that in his head. Okay, ready for the kicker for the end? This is the last two paragraphs of the entire article.
Sure.
While the major shows might be the ones attracting significant brand dollars, podcasts can also thrive without advertising, according to Adam Curry, an early podcaster and host of the No Agenda Show. Mr. Curry, known by some as the Podfather, thanks to his role in the movement's early days, what the fuck is that? Does not
sound like an old fart.
Does not use advertisers on his show. Quote, "You don't need 1 million people listening to create something and it be sustainable and grow over time," Mr. Curry said. "I personally like that because I don't have to have any meetings and show anybody how many downloads I've had." End of article.
That's what you said?
Apparently. Sounds like me. I like not having advertising because I don't have to have any meetings.
Well, I think there's something to be said for that.
Well, that's what we always say.
Yeah, meetings.
I can just see people going, what? What is
kind of a douchebag is?
Why doesn't he like
He's
meetings?
American. He doesn't like meetings.
This guy is no good. He doesn't like meetings. That's the takeaway.
That was lame.
I kind of like it in a lame kind of way.
Well, it is lame and it is likable. I'm not saying that's not likable. It's just lame.
I was involved early on with podcasting. That's what it's now been. I've been relegated to that. I was involved. I was breathing during that time. So there you go.
Being involved early on and having the first quote unquote, technically quote unquote podcast, the first.
That's not, yeah. Well,
it's different.
Uh-huh.
It's like saying Henry Ford was involved in car manufacturing.
Well, he did not invent the car. It was Duesenberg, wasn't it?
Okay, let's just say they're involved. He invented the modern manufacturing. He says, okay, let's say Henry Ford was involved in modern manufacturing. It should be kind of like missing the point.
Yeah. Anyway.
Well, good. They're a publicity bandwagon compared to Taylor. Starting up with Taylor Swift. That's what we do.
I am the regular.
Almost a wave.
I am the Taylor Swift of podcast promotion. That's what I am.
Almost a wave. We just didn't quite turn the corner on the wave.
And we needed the tsunami, and we got a trickle.
Damn it.
We got a tap opening up.
A leak.
Yes, a leak. Indeed. Presidential proclamations, Veterans Day, of course, by presidential proclamation. That'll be Monday, I presume. Veterans Day, is that Monday?
I don't know, is it?
I think so. Let me see. There was a lot of...
There's a lot of these...
No, Seventh Day, we missed it. It was Friday.
Friday?
Yeah, I guess that was Veterans Day? Jeez.
I didn't notice.
Yeah, well, the president had a concert, of course.
Well, that way he doesn't have to go out of his house.
It wasn't worth clipping.
He brings the concert to him.
It wasn't worth clipping, but he always likes to be on stage with all the artists and.
Oh yeah.
So he was on stage with Willie Nelson singing "On the Road Again."
On the road again.
Yeah, right. But it was very uncomfortable to watch.
Yeah, because Willie Nelson was stoned.
The president should have been stoned.
They got to deal with this District of Columbia vote for legalizing marijuana. It's the Congress, the Republican Congress, that's supposed to deal with this. This is going to be actually quite humorous.
And Veterans Day now shared with World Freedom Day.
Why?
I'm not sure why, but it is the story of Berlin.
Yeah, we talk a big game about the veterans, but we're always dissing them.
I think. So this is in conjunction with the celebrations of the Berlin Wall coming down. I personally was very disappointed that they did not have the Hoff performing once again. As we know, David Hasselhoff. Yeah,
he's the one who brought the wall down.
He's the one who brought it down. They did have his Madame Tussauds wax figurine. In front of the wall.
I'd be great at 200 yards.
Yeah. So that was really fabulous. I learned something today. Actually, yesterday. So there were big celebrations in Poland, or celebration. That's not fair to say, but because of the wall coming down, there were a lot of events. And let me just grab this one. This is there was, I think, a Holocaust museum opening up, And that's why Roman Polanski was there.
Filmmaker Roman Polanski has been questioned by Polish prosecutors in connection with a U.S. extradition request over a 1977 sex crime conviction. Polanski presented himself to authorities in the southern Polish city of Krakow, but prosecution officials decided not to detain him. The filmmaker pleaded guilty in 1977 to having unlawful sex with 13-year-old Samantha Geimer during a champagne and drug-fueled photo shoot in Los Angeles. At the time, he spent 42 days in jail as part of a 90-day plea bargain. But he fled the country the following year, believing the judge hearing the case could overrule the deal and jail him for years. In 2009, Polanski was arrested in the Swiss city of Zurich on a 31-year-old U.S. warrant and placed under house arrest. But Swiss authorities also decided not to extradite him to the United States.
So I was curious about this now that it's been over 30 years. And I think, everyone's kind of like, okay, right, it was drug-fueled photo shoot and whatever. Everyone's probably okay now after 3 decades. But why why do they want this guy so bad? And I asked around. Have you ever thought about this?
Well, there's a couple of things. One is the case itself. There's a good documentary on it, and the guy was going to overturn the plea deal and screw him, and so that's why he fled. Otherwise, why would he? Right, makes no sense.
But that was 30 years ago.
And that was 30 years ago. And you'd think that, if you've got something that's more than just the angry American judiciary system, I'd be interested.
Well, from the way it was explained to me, and this is also the genesis of Polish jokes in America.
And it was... I'll put that aside.
Okay.
Because I'm not buying that. But let's go with put to you by whom?
By a Polish native.
Okay.
Then we have Polish producers, and as you know, the Polish are already quite pissed at the United States over this visa waiver program that they're not in. So it's very hard for Polish citizens to get. They're not in ESTA. And, of course,
and they're the guys who helped us the most in the Iraq War.
Okay. So now
to Bush.
Now you're getting close. The way it was explained to me is the Hollywood Jews hate Poland because they still feel that Poland was responsible for a lot of the genocide as that they helped the Nazis.
That is a genuine belief. They think that the Polish sold them out.
Yes, and of course, Dachau and Auschwitz are all in Poland. And that this is what they're so pissed at this guy because he's Polish. Roman Polanski is Polish. And they just it's like where you have Steven Spielberg gets Oscars, Roman Polanski, they want to throw him in jail. And that is where this, and I'm buying into it. I think that there is this anger from a certainly a large selection of Jews who are descendants of survivors or non-survivors of the Holocaust who blame Poland. Although I don't know if that is necessarily true.
Well, this is a bit of a stretch that this grudge would go on this long and be targeting him.
Well, it could just be a long-time message, you know? But that is what came up. And I was like, well, that's okay. I actually buy that. I see no other reason. It makes no sense for any other reason. And that's where I started to read into the early Hollywood really started to do a lot of the Polish jokes, right after the Second World War. And that's where a lot of the writers, came up with these jokes and was all, as it's explained to me, I have no proof specifically. I didn't research it that far. Is that Hollywood at the time was, let's make the Polacks look dumb. Polacks, stupid. And it was still because of that grudge left over from World War II.
Well, the Polish jokes did not come about because I was fortunate enough to take a number of folklore courses at the University of California taught by Alan Dundas, who was a joke collector.
Mm-hmm.
And he also was a joke analyst, and he would analyze joke structures, including elephant jokes, cripple jokes, Polish jokes, all the rest of it.
Well, the idea was this was Nazi German subhuman intelligence jokes that were adapted and turned around to be boomeranged back at the Polish.
Yeah, it could be. Some Polish jokes were brought to America by German displaced persons fleeing war-torn Europe in the late 1940s. Polish jokes became common, remaining some of the spread of such jokes under the Nazis. It's like the Nazis promoted these jokes, so this kind of puts a little crimp in them.
Hello, deflect it. Yeah, that's right. Those guys did it. Yeah, those Polish guys. Hey, where were the camps? Poland.
Well, it's an interesting thesis. I mean, there's nothing you can do to prove that thesis, but I can see people believing it.
Yeah, well,
passing it around, passing it to you.
Well, I've been very clear that it was passed on to me that I have no proof, but I did. Yeah. I've always been.
Well, I know you've been baffled by this
Polanski.
Anomaly, that 31 years when you think the statute of limitations and everything in between would be in play. Yeah, I mean, murderers go longer than this, and or less time, and yeah. There's something fishy about it. You're right.
Yeah, but so that was the best explanation.
Who cares at this point? Even the girl herself doesn't give.
No, she's already forgiven him, and that's all been. And these days, if you look at when I have an article here, and these days, 13 years old. Yeah, of course, it's legal in the Vatican to have sex with someone who's 13 years old.
Yeah, there's drug-fueled parties in the Vatican are few and far between.
That says you.
Well, I could be wrong.
They may be partying it up. How do you know? You don't know that for sure. What is this? Here, teachers told sex at 13 is a normal part of growing up. This is just a recent article. This is in the UK. The attitudes change over time, but not the attitude towards Roman Polanski. I just thought it was interesting that popped up again, and just no agenda thinking. I'm just why? Who cares? No. What's the last movie he made?
He does a lot of movies. He did a couple of them recently.
Really? If I walk down the street, would people know Roman Polanski or Taylor Swift?
Well, he doesn't push the movies as Roman Polanski presents. He just does a lot of films.
Okay. Yeah. When was the last one though?
Well, that's recent.
2007, 2008. Quiet Chaos.
Well, that wasn't a big hit.
No. But what he directed as a director, I don't think is, let's see. He did a short in 2012, Carnage, The Ghost,
Odd Man Out.
He's done The Pianist. He did that.
Yeah, he won 3 Academy Awards for it.
Right, but he didn't show up, of course.
Well, he did it. They send a video in. Yeah, no, he's active.
Okay, well, since we're on comedy for a moment, Robin Williams toxicology results release. This has been just beautiful to read all the articles about this.
Yeah, and I know what you're going to say, and I'll help you out when you say it.
Okay, Associated Press. Robin Williams' autopsy found no alcohol or illegal drugs were in his body.
Yes, illegal. Keep using that. Let's make that clear.
The results released by the Marin County Sheriff's Office found that the actor had taken prescription medications, but in therapeutic concentrations. And they do not even mention which.
They don't tell you what the name of the drugs are,
or even what the makeup of the drugs were.
Right.
What pharmaceuticals were in it? Nowhere. And the press is so afraid of pissing off the pharmaceutical industry,
right?
Because they're big advertisers. They just hey, it was no illegal drugs. Okay, he only had the good legal stuff. And of course, the assertion is that it's like all this. Anyone who has PSTD, when they're given legal drugs, there's a high suicide rate. This is an epidemic. This is very, very, very bad.
As one of our producers pointed out, these drugs, and there's a laundry list of them. the reason the warning about thoughts of suicide is not necessarily because the drugs make you kill yourself. It's that the drugs release certain inhibitions that would keep you from killing yourselves under normal circumstances because you're not that stupid.
Yeah.
But they because this is released, go, it might not be a bad idea for me to kill myself, and boom, you do it.
It's funny. Last night I was watching Lisa Ling. She has this CNN show, which is a strange show. It's always about hookers and drugs. And she was with a group of veterans who have post-traumatic stress disorder, who all said the same thing about the medication, that they didn't really want to kill themselves, but they felt less inhibited to just do it, just to release the pain, not really because they wanted to kill themselves, but it was only when they took the antidepressants. And then I had a beer with my buddy, the ex-banker, and asked him about the...
when Robin was before he got into these clinics, when he was using cocaine, which is he's a big user of cocaine, drank a lot, and did a lot of other things, he never killed himself.
No, he was quite funny, actually. He was funny, had a good time. And yeah, that's right. And we have proof he didn't kill himself while he was doing all that, because he didn't kill himself. So I had a beer with my buddy, the ex-banker. And
the big banker.
Yeah, and asked him about the suicide from by the Deutsche Bank guy.
Oh, yeah.
And he my buddy knew him quite well. Like they traveled together, they'd done stuff, they'd done business, I think he kind of mentored him in a way. And he said, man, I really, really don't know. I really don't understand it, other than that. The whisper on the street is that he was hiding some really horrible personal secret. And I said, you don't believe that. You traveled with the guys and now. But the extrapolation was, without me really having to say anything, that he might have been a little depressed about some things at work, and that he had been prescribed antidepressants. And he had hung himself, which is another thing. This hanging business, just seems like a jumping off the bridge. I can see that, which is another favorite of drug, illegal drug infused suicidal thoughts. It's just that's just sad that we can't really get any real reporting on this, and that no one seems to give a crap. Robin Williams, everyone, my Twitter, changing my Twitter icon. Oh, I grew up with him, but no one cares. It's like, hello, maybe we could save somebody else.
Yeah. Well, I think this is a point we've made on the show a million times.
Yeah, but not everyone has listened a million times.
They should.
Sometimes you have to reiterate stuff. It's okay.
Yeah, but I saw the same thing. It was just like, oh, brother.
Isn't that nuts, though?
Legal drugs, the illegal drugs the legal drugs are fine.
Yeah.
And nobody ever assumes that you did something because of the legal drugs.
No, of course not.
And they don't even make. But again, it's because of the advertising. Let's just make it clear that the beginning of the show pointed out two things. One, besides Adam getting jobbed by the Wall Street Journal, it was about the advertising in that article. And it's about the advertising in this material about Robin Williams. It's always about the advertising. That is why you have to support the No Agenda show.
Yeah.
In a roundabout way.
Yeah. Do you want to do it now, or
might as well?
Okay. In the morning to you, John C. Dvorak. Thank you for your courage.
In the morning to you, Adam Curry. In the morning to all ships at sea, boots on the ground, subs in the water, and all the dames and knights out there.
In the morning to everybody in the chat room, noagendastream.com. Good to have you all there, lined up, ready to go. In the morning to all of our artists who are making good use of Sir Paul's revamped noagendaartgenerator.com. Thank you, Native Camp. For the art that we use, which was a good piece of art with the boot and the We Are the World and the Africa. That was a nice piece. It really fit well with the whole theme of the show. Can you remember?
Yes, it was dynamite.
Although I don't believe we've had Native Camp ever credited for any of the art. So looking forward to what you'll come up with today. And as John already mentioned, because we as noted by the Wall Street Journal, we take no meetings here, but we can also really start to talk about the things that are not mentioned because of the advertising. That's because our producers, who are our listening audience, who we call producers, are supporting our program.
Yeah, they are producers.
Yeah, they are producers, and they support our program
in an honest way,
just like Hollywood.
Well, let's thank a few. In fact, we're going to start at the top with an Insta-Night.
Wow.
Peter Puckey, I guess is how you pronounce that. $1,000 from Bowmanville, Ontario, Canada. A little long note here. This is my second donation, but I thought I'd make it worthwhile. My first donation was for the amount of $69.69 a while back. I was taken a little aback that you didn't read my message with the first donation.
Oh.
In the message was the correct way to say my last name. John, you slaughtered it. And as usual, Adam tried to help, but only made it worse.
That's what I do.
That's what. My hope is that if I send you enough money to be an Insta-Night, you'll read this note and get it right. The name is spelled Papa, Uniform Kilo, Yankee, but it is said if you spelled it Papa, Oscar, Kilo,
Pookie.
India Echo, Pookie.
Pookie.
Didn't I say Pookie when I just said it?
You said, yeah, I think you did.
I said Pookie.
Pookie, yeah.
Yeah, I must have said Pukey or something.
At this point, you say, just tell me what it is. Don't give me the code.
Pookie. It's Hungarian.
Yeah.
The weakness is the English language. There's many different ways to say the written word.
True.
I wish to be, but we will know now because you're a knight.
Sir Pookie. Does he have a name you want? Oh, Sir Captain Pete of the 7 Equatorial Oceans?
I wish to be de-douched, however. There is a reason that I haven't contributed more. Mm-hmm. I was in a 25-year relationship, which kept me poor.
Yeah, it happens that way.
We have a number of people like that. You know who you are.
Uh-huh.
All my money became our money, and that left me with none.
You didn't do it right.
That's now over. Well, most guys don't. That's now over, and I finally have some. It reminded me of a story.
Yeah, go ahead.
I knew this girl who was getting divorced.
Uh-huh.
And she was like a lot of women who get divorced. Not all of them. Some of them are very amenable, and they do go through arbitration or whatever, and it's normal. But she was not the type. And so she got the top divorce attorney she could before the guy even knew what hit him. Mm. And then she went and visited every other divorce attorney within 100 miles to see if they'd take her case on, and that immediately disqualified them from working for him.
Oh, what a great idea.
It was a great idea.
Huh.
And so the guy was screwed. He had to go to somebody that was slipshod, and he wasn't even in the area.
Oh, man.
And, of course, she ended up with everything.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
So I'm reminded of that. Anyway, he goes on. He says, now I finally have some coin to invest in the best podcast in the universe. I'm shutting down my business in Canada and looking to find a medium-sized yacht that's navigating the globe, typically as a fleet of 40 vessels that partake in the World Arc each year.
Huh.
And as such, I need some yacht finding karma to get me on my way.
You know, there are several days a month that I think to myself, if only I had some yacht finding karma, my life would be so much better.
Well, you know, he's a knight. You know, he's got the right to do what he wants. He says, as he'll no longer be a dirt dweller, I'll be needing an appropriate ocean title. I'd like to be known as Sir Captain Pete of the 7 Equatorial Oceans.
Nice.
Another reason for donating is to celebrate my 57th birthday, which is today.
Oh.
Is he on the list?
I'll check. Should be, obviously.
57 years old from 1957. As well as the de-douching and the karma shot, I'd like an Obama A-team and 2 to the head. Also, if there's any No Agenda listeners that are sailors, contact me. You know, we all have at least one thing in common, the No Agenda show.
Oh, that's cool. You can probably hook up at any port around the world. And when he's sailing in his yacht, I wonder, he sounds like he's got some dough, John. Maybe.
Well, he's got some dough left over.
Yeah. Now that he, got rid of he doesn't really mention what happened to her, huh?
No, I'm sure she's fine.
All right. Thank you very much. Tonight, and you shall be crowned Sir Captain Pete of the 7 Equatorial Oceans later on in our second donation segment. For you, sir, here we go.
You've been de-douched.
There's a need for a rescue mission. When the world is threatened, and the world needs help, it calls on America. And that's the story.
You've got karma.
Hey. Yacht finding karma.
Yacht finding karma.
Yacht finding karma.
Gary in Joseph, Oregon, $333.33 from Joseph, Oregon, apparently. That came in over the mail, box 339, El Cerrito, California. We love checks. Longtime listener, but first-time donor. Here's a shout-out to the best podcast in the universe. Keep up the good work. And as Chief Dan George said, endeavor to persevere. Please give me a MILF shout-out to my wife, Dana, who I have turned on to your podcast. And she's listening, apparently.
Oh, hold on a second. Here we go.
MILF, that's one mother I'd like to
Yo.
There you go. Give him a karma.
Oh, of course. Happy to. You didn't say it specifically, so.
I didn't. I know. I
got
just thought about
karma.
it now.
Okay. Send pictures.
He may be an MD.
Ah.
Because he scribbled MD out of the blue on that handwritten note. So it's possible. All right. Sir Zog of Elwood.
Yes, Sir
Let me
Zog.
make sure. Is there anything above that? No. Sir Zog of Elwood, follower of Sir Azog of Elwood.
Right, as we know, yes.
We've been riding valiantly on our steeds throughout the Chicago Southland and hitting people in the mouth. You turn a few, and a few think you're nuts.
Yeah.
Of course. They're the ones that are in trouble.
Yeah.
Screw the losers who can't see what's happening. Young Sir Azog is now in the 6th grade, so we're starting to keep an eye out for school assignments where we can potentially propagate the formula. But my wife is a middle school teacher, and if this blows up on us, we'll be in deep shit. So this is the way. This is right here is the state of the country.
Yes, read it again.
I'm going to do a report after this, and which is an indication.
Read it again. Go slowly. I want to hear exactly what he's saying here.
Young Sir Azog is now in the 6th grade, so we're starting to keep an eye out for school assignments where we can potentially propagate the formula. But since my wife is a middle school teacher, if this blows up on us, we'll be in deep shit. So we're being like Fonzie and playing it cool and waiting for the right opportunity.
Huh.
I've been listening for over 400 shows, and the deconstruction in the last year has been phenomenal.
Oh, thank you.
I got a chance to hang with a couple of Brits last week. And with the knowledge and insight from the show, they were amazed that I had any UK political opinions.
Yeah, we thought those Americans were stupid. All I knew was French fries, McDonald's.
The deconstruction of the Scottish vote being used to get the Scots out of English affairs blew their minds. But they were totally all in. And by the way, I used that on Mimi's friend from the UK who was visiting.
Yeah.
And she was also... They haven't heard this argument. I mean, I guess we picked it up from the Europeans, but as soon as you hear it, you go, obviously. I'll be in London all week, so I can see if I can hit some people in the mouth while I'm there. And I could get a shout out to Brian Williams of Streamwood, Illinois, who's actually is a knight, but needs to get off his lazy ass and send in his accounting to get knighted.
Okay, yeah.
With a boom shakalaka with a head is gone chaser. That would be great. Grab a karma for the show and yourselves while you're at it. It's on me. Value for value rules.
Bingo, boom, boom, shakalaka, boom, 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 shakalaka, boom, boom.
Boom shakalaka. Boom shakalaka.
And her head is gone. You've got karma.
It works for me.
And finally, our last associate executive producer, Nathan Howard from Archer, Florida. My son, Trevor, turned me on to you. That's pretty funny. And listening to you guys is a privilege, as the way you find and tell the truth is extremely rare and fascinating to listen to. Almost non-existent in today's bought and paid for mainstream media. The most enjoyable times I get to spend with my son are on Thursdays and Sundays. Thanks.
That's very
Just
nice.
give him a gratuitous
karma, you betcha.
You've got karma.
That'll conclude our producers.
Oh, that's it.
Executive and associate executive producer formerly for show 668. I want to remind you, we do have another show coming up on Thursday, 669. Show 669. If that means anything to you. Dvorak.org/NA.
The way you said it means something.
Woo!
Yeah. We seem to have some kind of problem with the stream, which Void Zero was working on. But regardless of that.
We're having a problem with streaming?
Yeah, but it's something strange. Elevator music is
backed by that guy who sent us the nasty notes.
Don't worry. Void Zero's on the case. Don't worry about it. 2 quick PR mentions. Todd wrote me and reminded me that we have dronelicense.com, which currently points to our noagendashow.com page.
Oh, yeah.
Do we want to do something with that? We were talking about getting in on the military-industrial complex drone bonanza.
Yeah, I think we should.
Okay, well, let's have a meeting about that.
We'll have a meeting.
Yeah. And thank you to, who did this? And I got to open it up and see. MTN Vortex. He tweeted this out this morning, has made a YouTube video, which I put in the show notes, which shows you how to use No Agenda Search, the search.noagenda.com in conjunction with noagendaplayer.com when you want to find something. And it's really good. He just shows you how you integrate these two websites where not only can you find what episode something was in, but then how you use No Agenda Player to find that exact clip. If it's not already annotated, you can help out by annotating, and you can send someone a link that takes you directly to that piece.
Nice.
This is good stuff.
Yeah, that is good stuff. I could use that.
Yeah, didn't see that in the Wall Street Journal piece. They have a great search.
They're very shallow.
Yeah. So are we, really.
I once said, I don't know, when somebody said, why it's a long story, but there was a profile of me, and I said something about I don't write for the boneheads who read the Wall Street Journal.
And then what happened?
Well, I never got a job there ever.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Dvorak.org/NA.
All right, everybody, if you're out there and about, please do the very important work of propagating the formula.
Our formula is this. We go out, we hit people in the mouth.
Shut up, slave.
Shut up, slave.
I think Void Zero fixed it already, so this is all good.
He's the best.
So this North Korea thing that popped up all of a sudden, and of course, I'm itching. I'm itching because I really want to call Don, but I know it's inappropriate, and I'm seeing him.
It's totally inappropriate.
But I'm seeing him in a week, a little over a week.
Yeah, he'd know.
Here's 17 seconds in case you hadn't seen it or heard about it.
Back home in the US, the two American citizens, Matthew Todd Miller and Kenneth Bay, after being released from prison in North Korea. The two arrived at a military airbase in Washington. To the surprise of many commentators, James Clapper, the US Director of National Intelligence, went to North Korea and accompanied the two men home.
So that's the tell right there.
Well, this is interesting to me because I didn't get this little factoid.
It's worse. It's worse.
And of course, they come back on Air Force Two, an American jet with the USA on the side, which had to have obviously landed in North Korea, which must have gotten a few tongues wagging.
Well, not only that, this report doesn't have it, but CNN was reporting last night that Clapper went to North Korea. Clapper, who is the dumbest guy there is. I mean, the guy's dumb, and he's a liar, by the way. He lied to Congress. He lied in Congress.
Yes. In Congress, to Congress.
And he had a note from Obama. And I'm just like, here's the note I imagine. Dear Kim, I'm in the shitter. Please help me turn the news cycle away from my lameness. Please make me look good. I'll send you some Laker girls in Minnie Mouse outfits. Your pal Barry. That's about all I could think of.
It might have been just that.
Now,
he may have. It wouldn't be beyond Kim Jong-un to negotiate these guys in exchange for a exhibition game between the Lakers and the Korean national team.
Now, simultaneously,
probably wouldn't be the Lakers, though. It'd be one of the teams. I think he fancies the Knicks. He's a fan of one of
the Knicks.
Yeah, he's got some crazy.
Geez.
I'd have to look into it, but he's a.
Ugh. Okay.
Well, actually,
no. I thought.
No, it's one of the teams. Chicago Bulls.
Oh, Bulls. Yeah, of course.
He's a huge Chicago fan. That's right.
Now this does come on the heel, not really the heels, but on the Achilles heel of the big meetings in China in Beijing with the Chiners, and of course we know the Chiners have good connections with North Korea. Maybe this was some kind of gesture from Beijing, because this Kenneth Bay and let's also point out this other guy, Todd Miller, spook. The guy does not exist.
The
guy does not exist.
It's the look these guys have.
But go ahead and search around Todd Miller, Brian the Gay Crusader, who's really good at research. He says, I can't find anything on this guy. What do you think? And I said, spook. So obvious, spook.
Well, he looks it too.
Yeah, spook. So they sent back a spook and the other guy,
the missionary. Who's just got to be a bonehead.
But there's more strangeness to us, and I didn't clip any of it, but there's the guy who had the free Kenneth Bay campaign going. Oh man, it just hit me. Oh, John, I'm such an idiot. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I should have clipped this. I'm an idiot. Oh man, hold on a second. Let me get the exact.
Well, you found doing the show.
It just hit me. Artist, yes.
You have decided that you have uncovered or overlooked the most important piece of information, and what might that be?
Okay, the Free Kenneth Bay Now campaign has been run.
I got confused because I thought it was the Free Michael Bay.
No, Kenneth Bay.
Okay.
Oh man, I'm so stupid. Free Kenneth Bay.
Quit saying stupid and tell us.
All right, well, help me find out the name of the guy who was running that campaign, because he was on CNN and he actually said, I've never even met the guy. I don't know Kenneth Bay, but this guy has been running the Kenneth Bay campaign. And as I looked into it, his hold on, he runs a sports marketing company.
Oh,
that's what Bring Back Bay. Oh, it is Bring Back Bay. Here's sports agent David Sugarman. Hold on. David Sugarman. This is the guy who's been doing it. Oh, it's Sugar Time Inc. Let's see who they represent. Do you think they represent any basketball players, John, by any chance?
Probably some Chicago Bulls.
Let's take a look. SugarTimeInc.com. Oh, there's a basketball right in the middle of the page. Oh, my goodness. He's got a motivational video. Oh, this is so obvious. How stupid. Oh, I should have. Here, the clients. All clients. Oh, man.
This is SugarTimeInc.com. Is that what we're doing? Yes, sports agents.
Yes. SugarTime
The clients.
It doesn't. I don't get anything under clients. You get anything under clients?
You have to have a username and password.
Well, why don't we just go to the search? Oh, this is so obvious.
Yeah, go to search. Actually, search will bypass this.
Sugar Time.
There's a lot of sound effects on this site. Mostly basketball.
Yeah, it's all basketball.
Yeah, there's a basketball guy.
The clients. Let's see.
Sugar Time. What's the guy's first name again? Sugarman?
David Sugar. David Sugar. Oh man, I can't. But I'm kicking myself for having overlooked this, and it just hit me. I'm like, oh my god, of course.
Yeah, I mentioned the Chicago Bulls. We know you're a big fan.
Let me see. But I can't get into it.
Here, let me try.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, they just. I'm looking at some news stories. They got 5 new. Let's see, 5 new players. Al Walton, Dodry Brown. I don't know what this. I don't know anything about. I don't know anything about sports. Yeah.
It's David Sugar?
Yeah, David.
Is that right?
Yeah, David Sugar. Let's see if David Sugar. Let's just do Dennis Rodman. Might as well.
No, well, Rodman wouldn't have an agent at this point. I don't think. Maybe. Yeah, do David Sugar, Dennis Rodman, see if you can come up with it.
No, I don't. Nah, no real hits. No real hits. No, I'm telling you, there's got to be.
This is obviously what's going on here, and there will be another game. He's trying to westernize the country and get tourists to come, and then get basketball to become the national sport. Mm-hmm. You can count on that'll be I'll put that in the book. The national sport of North Korea will be basketball, as opposed to the national sport, more or less, of South Korea, which is baseball.
Right.
They have a lot of major leaguers, in fact, that play the Korean players. They like to throw. They have a lot of underhand pitchers that throw that weird sidearm underhand pitch, very hard to hit.
So now I have to go back and I have to go look at this guy, because he was so happy, and they had a little interview of him, and he said, "No, I've never even met Kenneth Bay." But he's the one that I think since 2011
Kenneth Bay was the spook.
No. I'm sorry, David Bay. I'm sorry, David Bay.
I mean,
David Sugar. Ugh.
Oh, geez, get it straight.
I'm sorry.
Now the spook was Kenneth Bay, right?
No. Todd Miller is the spook.
Okay, and is Kenneth Bay was the missionary?
Yes, the missionary, right. And David Sugar is the agent who was running the Free Kenneth Bay campaign.
Okay, and so he's a basketball guy.
Yeah.
So the basketball thing fits right into the picture. All right, well, that makes sense. Yeah, a deal was done somewhere along the lines, and the spook probably is the one who did the deal.
And it was so embarrassing that they sent Clapper. Let Clapper go. If this thing blows up, we want Clapper to be in trouble.
Yeah, it was the operation was sucked. The idea was to get the guy to do the deal with the missionary, and the spook was going to organize it. And somebody over there, and I'm guessing it was the spook, decided to steal some secrets.
Yeah,
and then he screwed the whole thing up. And so then all hell broke. And so you had to send Clapper to straighten it out, reprimand the guy, put him at a desk job in Langley, and now we're good to go. The Chicago Bulls are on their way.
Yeah, they're flying in. Although it may be Miami Heat. It
might be like, I think it would be great if I was Kim Jong-un. I would wait until the season's over, because you can't do it.
Well, it's got to be something big, John. I mean,
it would be like the champions of the NBA, or another a replay of the last game of the finals.
And it makes so much sense, because now we had a personal note from the president, which was, dude, I'm
and the president's a big
basketball guy. And we're going to be so happy because, look, here's some relations, something good's going on, and basketball is going to repair our relations with North Korea.
Yeah,
and I think when are the finals? When do we have the big?
The season just began, so it's months.
I don't know.
But it takes forever to organize these things.
So this guy was also vice president.
Players, the players are not stupid. It's like, what's in it for me?
Yeah. Oh yeah, of course. And because the tip-off was Clapper.
For our government, you know what? Here's my guess: we'll pay for. Pay the ticket on this.
Oh yeah,
because the North Koreans have no money.
This is
this is what's going to happen.
He's also he resides in downtown Miami. So this guy's got the heat. That's what I'm sure. Let me tell you, Miami Heat. Let me see if he must be representing some people from the Heat.
Well, the Heat was last year's champion, so it would make sense. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, in North Korea, they haven't finished last year's season yet on their TV.
On the Roku. On the North Korean Roku.
Yeah, NK Roku.
Let's see, David Sugar. No, maybe not.
We'll find out. We'll figure it out.
But he was also Chicago lawyer.
Yeah, there's no other reason for him to have this website.
So this makes so much sense. Okay. And this is how it actually worked. This is how our show was put together. Usually I do it before we start recording. But I'm sorry. It all of a sudden I'm sitting there like,
on him.
Oh, it's because I'm not a sports guy. I need help. I need help with the sports. That's more your territory.
Sports, I have a little report here. It's going to consist of 8 clips.
A little report?
And it starts with sports.
Okay.
And this is a corruption report, Dvorak's corruption report on the university system in the United States.
We need a jingle for this.
Well,
I have corruption.
There's no corruption.
What clip are you calling?
Soccer part 3, but let's start with soccer. Soccer corruption the first clip, soccer corruption.
Use. A young baseball player throwing too many pitches, for example, or a girl playing too much soccer on still developing knees. It's happening all across the country, but we found a striking microcosm of the problem in the patients and staff at one clinic in Northern California. Pediatric orthopedic surgeon Nirav Pandya is scrubbing in for his Tuesday morning operations at Oakland Children's Hospital's clinic in Walnut Creek, California. So 3 or 4 ACLs today?
3 ACLs a day.
3 ACLs. Is this a typical day?
It's a pretty standard day for me. Kind of from week to week, I'll be 2 to 3 ACLs, a bunch of different sports injuries, so very, very typical.
All 3 of today's operations are on young soccer players with torn anterior cruciate ligaments.
Young soccer players. Onward, soccer corruption 2.
Okay.
Many kids can and do come back and compete aggressively after ACL surgery.
Okay, I'm gonna straighten it out.
But some also develop osteoarthritis in as little as 10 years, and that can put them out of athletic action for life.
Okay, where's the corruption bit?
Just the whole, when it's over, you'll see the corruption. Let's go to Corrupt Soccer Part 3.
For 400 teams who paid nearly $400,000 in entry fees alone. Many of the girls on these fields and their parents share the same dream.
These girls want to play college. You worked your tail off to get into these showcases because those are where the coaches are for Pac-12 or your Big Ten.
Those showcases are tournaments which college coaches attend to assess young talent. Injuries have caused Jessica to miss several showcases where she was hoping to be offered a scholarship. Her mom says without one, she won't be able to afford college.
Won't be able to afford college, so these kids are out there crippling themselves.
Yes, to get into college. Sure, but
to get into college, and of course these are women because they can't afford college, and nobody can nowadays because the universities decided to jack up all the prices, largely because of the student loan fiasco. And in the meantime, of course, these colleges, which are bringing in probably more money than ever. I just have this little side clip here, which is a Lick Observatory clip. Play that.
Hold on a second. Oh, Lick. Yes. Got it.
Activists are claiming victory in keeping Lick Observatory open on Cal's campus. They say the UC system wanted to gradually cut funding off for the observatory, so the activists responded with a petition drive. They say at the end of October, the UC system relented, and Lick will keep its funding for another 5 years. Those who use the observatory say it's an invaluable resource.
This is an invaluable resource for graduate students and postdoctoral scholars. It was the only place where astronomy students could actually practice their science.
The activists already have their next battle in sight. They plan to try to block the UC system from going through with its proposed tuition hike.
Okay, so now they want to raise the tuition again.
Why not?
Well, that's the point. Why not? Because when you have going to clip number student loan.
Of course. There it is. Okay.
Student loan.
Okay.
First clip.
Well, there's about $1 trillion worth of federal student loan debt floating around in America.
So that's just a million, thousand million, isn't it?
$1 trillion. And for some, it never goes away. Julie Watts on the Fed's plan to collect, whether you have the money or not.
Best case scenario, how long do you think it'll take you to pay off your student loans?
Best case scenario is 3 years with a great job.
1.5 years, maybe 3 to 5 years.
Right. When it comes to paying off student loans, most college students are hoping for the best case scenario. But Eileen Joyce might be dealing with the worst.
I filled out the paperwork for hardship.
Decades ago, she took out a federal student loan to attend graduate school, but couldn't pay it back because of a disability.
I had no money just even for survival.
So the government recently started taking it back.
Okay. Can I guess where you're going with this? Can I take a stab at it?
Go ahead.
First of all, $1 trillion, is that a million?
It's a
I think it's a lot. It's a million.
Yeah, it's a million billion.
A million
billion. Sorry.
Oh, it's 1,000 billion.
1,000 billion.
1,000
billion.
Which is 1,000 millions.
Yes.
So I think where you're going is you get these kids as young as you can, and they're killing themselves, and of course it's like it's almost like that what's that movie where they from the books where the kids are all trying to kill each other and to survive?
Yeah, the Hunger Games.
Hunger Games, right? So it's kind of like a Hunger Games of soccer. To get your scholarship, which is never full, of course, and then you have
it still costs you too much money to go to school.
You get the student loan, and then you flow right into the minor leagues where they collude with the government to enslave you as a player.
Well, you're essentially enslaved by this whole. Yeah. This is our own government
enslaving
with student loans. And if you remember Eisenhower's speech about the military-industrial complex, and we've talked about this on the show before, was supposed to be
the military-industrial academic complex. You're right. And that was actually in his written speech, but he dropped that.
They crossed it out because it was too much for the public to absorb.
Right.
Now, this is what's going on. So our own government is doing this to the students. Let's play the rest of these student loan clips. They're pretty short. Play number Student Loans Part 2.
Deducting $100 a month from her Social Security check.
I thought I had a protected income.
Unlike other forms of debt, federal student loans aren't forgiven, even after bankruptcy.
The debt can be collected on forever.
Mari Castaldi of the East Bay Community Law Center says it's a scenario more and more seniors are now facing.
The government doesn't have to sue you to come after your assets. They can just swoop in and kind of start garnishing wages or Social Security benefits.
And in many cases, it's not until people file for Social Security that the government is actually able to track them down.
And I might want to mention here.
Wait a minute. The government is tracking you down. We're here to collect.
And they collect with the point of a gun.
You know what else they do?
This is why you cannot have offshore banking accounts.
Right.
Because the government cannot go into those accounts and just take your money like they can with all domestic banking accounts.
I've had that happen to me.
It happened to me.
I remember I was at MTV, and I don't remember what it was for. It was some oversight or something, like a check had gotten lost. It was like a payment to the IRS. But I remember this is early days of ATMs, and the ATM was in the bank there in New Jersey, and I'm trying to get out, and it's not working. I walk inside, and they say, "Oh, this is very strange. Oh, your money's been transferred to this account with all numbers 9. This is very strange. Let me see what's going on." And they'd just, taken all my money out, they had transferred it, and I called the IRS, and this is about 1989 or a long time ago. And I said, "Well, what is this?" "Well, there's a payment." I said, "Hold on a second. Just call me," whatever. He said, "No, well, we got your attention, didn't we?" That was the answer I got.
Yeah, that would be their answer.
We got your attention. Wow. Okay, so this is pure enslavement.
Yeah, and let's go to part 3, and then I can start to wrap.
In the past year, over 140,000 delinquent student loan borrowers have had their Social Security garnished, triple the number a decade ago. And Castaldi says, making matters worse, the government is now using private collection agents who get paid on commission to go after the debt.
These private debt collectors don't tell them about the options.
For example, people with low incomes should be able to make payments as little as $5 to $10 a month, an option Eileen wishes she would have known about decades ago.
Wow. So here's the situation that we have, and it's intolerable. And the colluders, of course, are the universities that create the environment for this. They have pretty much given up on, working with the state government and spending money wisely. The University of California, which wanted to shut down Lick Observatory, a very nice facility, has been building like crazy. There's so many new buildings. I don't think if you look at the University of California today and compare it to, and the increase in students from 30,000 to 44,000, which gives it mostly Chinese from overseas, so they can just make as much money. It's become a money-making operation. And the way it all ends up, and you have to play this clip without interrupting it, is the way it all ends up, the way we all end up at the end of the day is this clip. This is the weather girl and the anchor woman on KSBW just chit-chatting and showing you at the level of professionalism that we have in some of these stations around here. This is when girls take over the newsroom.
Chances for precipitation. So that means equal chances for rain, equal chances for a dry weather, and equal chances for just about in between. And we have a weak El Nino expected coming in the next 1 to 2 months. So we are rooting for that. Let's take a look at our KSBW weather kid of the morning. This is from Carson. He's a kindergartner at King City Arts Magnet School. And he said, "This is my family and I at the beach with sun, clouds, and rain." It looks like he's got that forecast nailed. And they look very tan in this picture.
Wow, Carson did a good
good job, I guess. We got rain yesterday and today.
And a little bit today. I think it's pink raindrops. I like that.
I love that. Oh, yeah, I wish the rain was pink.
Yes, me too. And tasted like cotton candy.
Oh, yes. Wouldn't that be great?
Yes.
Well, it is beautiful out there. Even though it's rainy, I'm excited to go outside.
We've needed the rain.
Hold on one second, John.
And there you have it.
I just had to shoot myself.
And there you have it.
Oh my
Welcome
God.
to America.
Wow. I know what you're thinking right now. People at home are going, "Is he going to do it?" Absolutely, totally deserved.
Clip of the day.
But also because it's in combination with your
in tasting like cotton candy
in your deconstruction of the slavery through sports, which is nothing really new, except now it's girls, which I think is interesting.
Well, there's a lot of this has to do with Title IX, Title VII. Once the universities or the courts try, what was going on in the universities is that all the big football teams and basketball teams were getting all the scholarships, and girls' sports weren't getting anything, female sports, women's sports. And so there was a number of lawsuits about this, and so they decided with the I guess it was the Supreme Court or the Civil Rights Act, they put this in play that you can't give the football team millions of dollars,
right,
without giving the women's sports millions of dollars. So they made it so they have to do that.
Yeah.
And so the women's soccer girls get as much as the football players. Although if they privatize the football sport and just let them make the money, and they sell out these stadiums. I was watching a game over the weekend, 102,000 people in the stadium.
I know.
There's plenty of money to be made. There's 102,000 people watching a football game. There's like maybe 25 or 30 people watching women's soccer, but they have the same they get the same scholarships. So it's dumb.
Yeah, it's not even good slavery.
It's just stupid. But that's the way it is, and that's what they have to do. But right now, with the tuitions and the student loans, the whole thing's a massive scam, and it makes me wonder about Peter Thiel, the crazy guy.
If maybe he's on the right track with his...
he may be actually thinking along these lines all along, because he's extremely skeptical. He's really a libertarian. He'd be a perfect listener to our show, although he'd probably think we don't go far enough. But there is a lot to be said for this scam.
Well, we certainly could use some
society.
We certainly could use some of that Peter Thiel mad money. I wouldn't have a problem with that. That would be very nice.
We have our own people that do fine.
Yeah. Wow.
We don't have to listen to him.
Good job, John. Nice on that deconstruction. And I'm happy because I was struggling a bit last night with trying to find stuff to deconstruct.
Well, you can deconstruct this one. Play Clowns 1.
Oh, goodness.
Now, do clowns make you laugh or perhaps feel a little uneasy? Well, clowning around in France has become decidedly more sinister recently after people disguised in clown costumes launched a series of attacks. Armed with iron bars or baseball bats, these so-called evil clowns have terrorized passers-by, especially after dark.
First seen in the United States, the evil clown phenomenon cropped up in France earlier this month. In one incident, car passengers had the fright of their lives.
They're armed with bats, hammers, knives. They want to really attack people, stop cars, demand money.
One evil clown in the northern town of Béthune has been given a 6-month suspended sentence. Another was arrested in Montpellier in the south after beating up someone with an iron bar.
These are serious attacks. They can traumatize young women, young people, and can be a way for real criminals to act.
I think, doesn't this happen from time to time where we get these clown attacks? I have a feeling that this is not entirely new.
No, I don't think so, because they already said it started in the United States, has been on and off again, but this is new in France. And I guess it's caught on. It's like there's a little bit of a sociological explanation in the second clip if you want to play it.
Of course I want to play that.
The phenomenon has spread across the country. It's also prompted anti-clown vigilantism, forcing police to step in to try to quell the growing hysteria. And to avoid any disruption during Halloween, the mayor of the small village of Vanguard in southern France went so far as to ban the costume altogether.
It is strictly forbidden for any individual aged 13 or more to walk around in the village dressed up as a clown.
Although no one knows for sure who started this trend, some believe it could come from the Wasco clown. Originally, it was an art project featuring photos of an anonymous clown in the town of the same name. It is believed to have inspired copycats, with some sharing disturbing images of clowns in intimidating scenarios. According to this sociologist, the evil clown trend reflects a malaise.
The clown can be seen as a victim. He's ugly, a failure, someone to distrust. And the evil clown can then be seen as a person seeking revenge.
Police say internet has played a pivotal role in promoting the phenomenon. Authorities are now concerned about the teasing of incidents on Facebook, as here, posing in front of a police station.
Okay, put this in the book.
All right, I'm ready.
ISIS dressing up as clowns. Masquerading as clowns. Just write it in.
Just clowns. Huh.
Void Zero, do I have to synchronize my clock? Oh, this is interesting. Let me just synchronize my clock, John. Hold on.
Okay, let me just...
We're getting buffer overrun, so I have to synchronize the clock.
That makes nothing but sense.
I know. Well, let me see if can I do it. Can I do this?
You're now in the book with the highlighted. If this happens, I will give you I will applaud, literally applaud, because that is a far out idea.
Yeah, but I'm thinking it's the way to go.
It would be. Evil clowns.
Yeah, I've never liked clowns.
I heard the story. I said, I don't know why it's for the show.
I've never liked clowns. Ever.
A lot of people hate clowns.
Yeah, well, I don't know if I hate them, but I really don't. No, I'm not really big on the clowns. 5 seconds. Am I 5 seconds? No, I'm synchronized to the...
Why would that make a difference in the stream?
Well, I'm not a dude named Ben.
Sure.
But when you're... so we're having buffer overruns between me and the server, and Void is looking at the logs, and it says we're behind 5 seconds or something. I don't know, man. I don't know. My Mac is set to the time server. Oh, okay, he'll figure it out because he's like that.
If anybody likes doesn't, especially if you don't like clowns, you should watch it's a movie, not a documentary, but it's quite humorous. A lot of people think it's disgusting. It's about a alcoholic clown called Shakes the Clown.
Yeah, this is one to watch.
Shakes the Clown. Yeah. I would recommend that film for anyone bored. And it's probably on Netflix.
There's also a Christmas movie with a drunk clown. I think that might be with Bill Murray. He plays a drunk clown.
Yeah, there was I remember that something Christmas movie with the clown.
Hey, so, moving along into let me hit with some Agenda 21. And we've talked about this company in the past. I looked it up on the No Agenda search.nashownotes.com. This is NRG Energy Systems.
Okay.
And big investors, including the Google. I think these guys actually I think that they invested in them because they wanted to use some of their solar technology to power data centers. And they received one of those $1.5 billion loan or a grant, I'm not sure.
Probably a loan turned into a grant because they didn't pay it back, maybe?
Well, the problem is now that there is a payment due, and the shareholders are asking the government for a grant to pay off some of the money due from
asking the government for a grant to pay off the government loan.
Correct.
It's a $1.6 billion federal loan that apparently wasn't good enough because now the owners, Google and NRG Energy, want a $500 million federal grant to pay off their federal loan. Well, the company says the sun isn't shining as often as they hoped. Imagine that, the weather not cooperating. And in the first 8 months of this year, Ivapod generated $254 1,000 megawatt hours of electricity. That's a quarter of the million that was promised. So to compensate, it's using 60% more natural gas, the very fossil fuel it was, designed to replace, and the reason it got federal money. NRG Energy insists that it's
the
a
reality of global warming rears its ugly head.
Things will improve. The CEO visited the White House 10 times. Its chairman wrote to the White House chief of staff that we need a commitment from the White House to quarterback the loan so it gets approved by the DOE. That's interference that House investigators called the worst kind of cronyism.
Yeah, no kidding. And I want to take this opportunity to play a little piece from an interview that I've put in the show notes. It's a YouTube video. Guy's name is John Kutch, and he is, I think he runs the Thorium Energy Alliance. So he's a nuclear guy, but he's a very smart nuclear guy who used to be a part of a lot of this stuff going on in California with the solar industry. And I picked out this little snippet because he's really pissed. Now, I think he does believe in climate change to a certain degree, but and maybe he doesn't, but his push is if you want to shut down coal, then you have to use nuclear. So I like that, obviously, because I think we should be doing that no matter what you think about climate change. It's the way to go. It is the future with the modern reactors that we have. But he has...
How do you spell his last name?
Kutch. Do you want the code or do you want me just to spell it?
Go.
Kilo Uniform Tango Charlie Hotel.
I just needed the first. It was a C or an H.
I'm going to disconnect from the stream and reconnect for everybody. See if I can get something going here. I'm not quite sure why it's all messed up. Okay, we are reconnecting. We should be back. Okay, so you got him. I want to play this little bit from this. It's kind of a documentary where he talks about specifically solar energy and stuff I didn't know about, how very vulnerable solar panels are in industrial use.
What most people in the public don't understand is that all solar cells inordinately benefited from good PR. Amorphous, flexible, I don't care what kind of solar cells you're using. Solar, and especially utility scale solar, you've got to dope these silicon sheets. You got to have glass sheets, impact resistant sheets, aluminum frames, vapor deposition of the materials using vast amounts of energy. They're almost all refined using vast amounts of electricity. As you start to pay off that energy deficit, oops, I need more batteries. Oh, what did those take to produce? You get into things about the efficiencies. Not only does it decay over time, but you might just blow out your solar cell altogether when just something as basic as a maple leaf falls on the panel. You get a blank area in the solar cell. It almost acts like a capacitor, and the energy will build up behind that shadowed area of the leaf, and you'll get a burnt out section of your solar cell. When you look at utility scale installations, even when they're in the desert, you'll see that these companies will spray Roundup and all sorts of knockdown to kill and make sure nothing ever grows underneath these solar cells. All in the sake of making sure that grass doesn't grow high enough, or God forbid a bush should grow high enough and fall on the face of your solar cell. Then they put in these large solar cell arrays using lots of concrete, lots of aluminum, tons of wiring, going to inverters to get on the grid with sketchy, shaky, badly formed power. And you're sending workers into these solar fields to clean off the dust that constantly builds up. And when you get just a little bit of dust, you're efficient. You can lose 10-15% of your efficiency. So you're constantly cleaning these things. I am at the fucking end of this shit, all right? The day of that clown bullshit is over.
I forgot to warn you. This is why it's a good piece of video to watch, like 25 minutes. Very entertaining. And he goes into all kinds of...
Well, I think we knew most of this in the 70s when the OPEC thing created the first boom of this sort of thing. And, of course, a lot of people back then were... What's strange, as far as I'm concerned, is that we don't have what was going on in the 70s, which was the water heaters on the roof of the house.
Right, yeah.
That was a big deal. Everyone had these, and the water would get hot, and then you'd use that for your hot water.
Right.
And
how'd that work out?
I guess those are all
people got tired of lukewarm showers. Is that what happened?
I don't know what happened. And then the solar panels because of the Chinese solar panels, mostly they got so cheap,
right,
that you could try to take another run at this. But I think if you do the math, exactly what he said, I think they're losers. That's why the only reason they ever work out is when you get a bunch of rebates. In other words, the state and the federal governments give you money
to put it up. Yeah, exactly.
And that's we're just scamming the taxpayers. This is nonsense.
And Germany, because someone posted a really long comment on, I think, show 667 or whatever, and talking about solar and wind, they're now efficient enough. No, they're not efficient. They'll never be efficient enough because you either have to store it in battery technology, which is just not efficient enough. Otherwise, you'll be able to go cross country in your Tesla, or you have to fire up gas plants, gas energy at night and when there's no wind. So it's just not efficient enough. And Germany had their big Energiewende. And the German industry is in deep, deep trouble because they cannot afford the cost of the renewables that they were all supposed to all be in on. And Germany is trying to turn this Titanic around and get off of this track they were on.
Oh, yeah, they were all in. Yeah, and the Germans have always been this way.
Yeah, and the industry is hurting severely because of the energy costs. Go ahead, search around. You'll find lots of articles about this. Someone else sent me some articles, which I thought was an interesting. It was just a couple of links, and I do remember seeing one of them, which is why it caught my eye, about climate change. And the title of this article, let me see, where did it come from? Of course, you see it in National Journal, whatever that is. Headline: Condoms fight climate change, but nobody wants to talk about it. And so there's three other articles I have all along the same line. Here's the latest climate change statement: webcast your vasectomy. Okay, so if you see where this is going, is a eugenics program, which will be the final bastion of fighting climate change, is stop having children.
Yeah, and let's get back to that. Let's start killing people.
Well,
I thought that we got the death panels in the last show. I think it was a genius segment.
Yeah, well, but I didn't.
The hospitals are just, let's get people to kill themselves. Move to Oregon and kill yourself.
But that's all. But that's not going. That's not moving it fast enough.
No. Condoms, vasectomies.
But I love this for Valentine's Day. This is the request for Valentine's Day. They're getting you can see more. This PR will be ramping up. Webcast your vasectomy.
Why would someone be so sick as to want to do that?
Well, we have World Vasectomy Day.
This is the old stand up for. Stand up for. I am Spartacus. Stand up for this. Stand up for that. Let's show you're proud of being a stupid slave. Well, is what it amounts to as far as no agenda thinking.
I feel bad. We missed it. World Vasectomy Day was on the 7th of November. I don't know if it caught on.
World Vasectomy Day was when? The 7th? Was that a Friday?
November 7th. That was a Friday, yes.
That's interesting.
Oh, we missed it.
We did.
That's too bad. WorldVasectomyDay.org. Check it out. And they got a film. Oh, they have a film. Webisodes and film. What's their film?
Oh, this okay.
Oh, man. All right. So
this is just now we're going depressing. I'd rather have the cotton candy tasting pink rain.
I do like this idea, though. Okay, well, why don't we start with killing the Chinese? And in fact, it's always being highlighted here. The Chinese have the right idea: one child per family. Well, just so you know, that changed quite a while ago. They got off that track.
One of the things that we did when you came up with, I still think, and I say this every other show at least, is that clip of that guy who goes into Hollywood with the
yeah,
with the writers telling him to add storylines that serve the greater global agenda, let's say.
Yeah, from the Lear Foundation.
So in 2014, a new Jack Ryan movie came out.
Uh-huh.
And this was called Jack Ryan Shadow something or other. Anyway, it's starring the guy, starring Captain Kirk in the new Star Trek series.
Who's Jack Ryan? Is this some superhero?
This Captain Kirk guy.
I should be aware of some superhero?
Yeah, he's just an actor, but he plays Captain Kirk in the new Star Trek things, and that's all I can think of. But that's not the point. The point is the messaging. This is after Snowden was kidnapped, of course, that all of a sudden, instead of the typical terrorism kind of scenarios that we had in these storylines,
right.
I want you to listen to this one and tell me that this hasn't been planted by somebody for a reason. Jack Ryan 1.
2 weeks ago, I noticed a series of accounts in our Russian partners' records to which our company's computers are denied access. Massive currency accounts, all in U.S. treasuries. Shraven's made a total commitment to U.S. dollars when there's been a hurricane in the Gulf and a string of negative economic reports.
What does it mean?
It's external sterilized intervention.
Like I'm an idiot.
The dollar should be going down, but it's up. A few cents every day the past week. I think they're propping us up.
Why?
I think there's a coordinated plot within Russia to collapse the dollar and crash the U.S. economy. And it's going to happen soon.
Wow, hold on. I got the clip. It's only 20 seconds. Martin Kaplan of the Lear Foundation.
So in the course of our work, this is in the 2 years, 11 to 13, 335 storylines that we worked on have been aired. We've worked with 35 networks in the past 4 years, 91 different television shows.
There you go.
And so let's finish it up. What's going to happen to us because of the Russians?
I'm sorry.
I said because of the Russians.
And once the Russians start to sell, the rest of the world is going to dump every dollar they have.
All right, let's say it's happened. Let's say you're right. What's the aftermath?
They'll recover. We won't. We don't have their oil reserves. We're looking at the panic of 1837, the panic of 1893, the Soviet famine of 1932.
Hyperinflation.
Breadlines. Rioting.
I know, I get it.
This is great. This is, when you say this on a podcast, you're called a crackpot and spit on. And by the way, I do know who Jack Ryan is. I just want people to think
well, anyway, this is bull crap of the highest order. And the dollar is going up finally because it's been depressed for so long.
Yeah.
And, it should be the same. It should be same or worth more than the euro. And it's finally that's starting to turn around after like a decade of the thing being in the toilet, which of course helps us when it's weaker because we get our exports are cheaper.
Well,
whatever the case, we are the ones buying all the treasuries,
and
it's us.
And this kind of when they put this stuff out there, which is so obvious anti-Russia, and I have a couple clips I'd like to play. In fact, I'm going to play. I'll come back to it. First, the news. J.P. Morgan has agreed to lead a $700 million bond offering for Russian gas producer Gazprom. This is this is short-term money, which makes it legal under the sanctions. This is so. A couple more. Russia is increasing investments in France. Cooperation in science projects, U.S. to remain priority with Russia. And here we have U.S. and Russia on Ukraine.
The U.S. and Russia have agreed to exchange information about the situation in eastern Ukraine, according to U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry. The Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said if the U.S. got involved to help resolve the conflict, it would be a step in the right direction. After their meeting in Beijing, both admitted, however, that they don't see eye to eye on events in Ukraine.
We do have some disagreements about some of the facts on the ground with respect to Ukraine. We have agreed to exchange some information between us regarding that. And we have also agreed that this is a dialogue that will continue.
Lavrov said the US should discourage what he called hotheads among Ukraine's leadership from resuming an all-out conflict with the rebels.
The ceasefire has been signed between the rebels and the government. It's for them to finalize the disengagement line, which they're doing right now.
More fighting was reported in Donetsk overnight, underlining the ceasefire's fragility. The Ukrainian army says one soldier was killed and over a dozen injured. Meanwhile, Russia's foreign minister laughed off Kiev's claims that there'd been a new Russian military incursion into eastern Ukraine this week.
So we're working together, although we don't see eye to eye on everything. But then, with all of this obvious business going on between France and Russia, United States and Russia, JP Morgan raising a $700 million bond for Gazprom, back at home with ABC, with our own compromised media.
Are reports of a cyber attack on the nation's critical infrastructure, hackers targeting America's power grids, gas lines, water treatment plants, and more using malicious computer software. The hackers now believed to have links to the Russian government. ABC senior justice correspondent Pierre Thomas has...
Now, listen closely to this report for any evidence or any true recognizable source of evidence about this being from the Russian government.
It's a late-breaking deal.
This is ABC News. This is the world. The news tonight. David Muir took over from Diane Sawyer.
Details. He's been talking to his sources today. Pierre.
David, some of the computer systems serving the country's most important utilities have been penetrated by hackers using a malicious software called Black Energy. It was planted years ago, but has not been activated and only recently discovered. What's at risk? Power plants, the electric grid, water treatment facilities, natural gas pipelines. In theory, this software could allow a hacker to use the internet to shut down a generator, flood a water treatment plant, or turn off a pipeline. If you think this is science fiction, take a look at this. In this test, Homeland Security researchers used a hacking attack to make this generator self-destruct. David, if it was turned loose on our industries, it could cause chaos, affecting thousands.
That experiment very telling. And Pierre, you were telling us that your sources are revealing that authorities believe the Russians could be behind this?
Yeah, they're saying sources possibly connected to the Russian government are the prime suspects, David.
So they did a test to show that, it looks like it could happen. And then they just say, well, some sources say, it looks like it's the Russians. This is not news. This is propaganda. Crap. And I looked up.
Why is a generator hooked to the internet? That's just beyond me.
Thank you for asking. So I looked it up. This is from the CERT.gov website. Ongoing sophisticated malware campaign comprising ICS Update A. This is from October 29th. And I'll just read it to you. First of all, it's only an amber alert. That's not like red alert, Russia. The word Russia is not in here anywhere in this report. ICS CERT has identified a sophisticated malware campaign that has compromised numerous industrial control systems, ICSs, using a variant of the Black Energy malware, well-known exploit, apparently. The campaign has been ongoing since at least 2011. Multiple companies working with CERT have identified the malware on internet-connected human-machine interfaces, which include GE Simplicity, Advanced Tech Broadwind Web Access, and Siemens WinCC. It's all Windows 2008 systems that are compromised. CERT has not observed the use of this vulnerability to target control system environments. Thank you. Okay, so where's all the scariness? And then they have a lot of technical info. And at the bottom, here's some recommendations. This is recommendations. Should you be running critical infrastructure? The U.S. government recommends, number 1, minimize network exposure for all control devices. Control system devices should not directly face the internet. Tip number 2, locate control system networks and devices behind firewalls. Isolate them from the business network. Tip number 3, if remote access is required, employ secure methods, such as virtual private networks or VPNs. Woo! Tip number 4, implement policies requiring the use of strong passwords. And tip 5, monitor the creation of administrator-level accounts by third-party vendors. If this is the level of advice we have to give to our critical infrastructure,
we could be running one of these companies instead of sitting here talking.
We are morons, is what we are. Retarded morons.
Well, the one thing we can do, and I'll kick this up a little bit. This may not just be about what you think it is.
Okay.
I believe it's underfoot. The entertainment industry is going to produce a slew of cyber-related sitcoms. Yeah, maybe sitcoms.
Yeah, sure.
Sitcoms, dramas. And I've got proof of one coming. I know we saw Scorpion, which is supposed to be this huge hit, and it's moronic. And if it is a hit in any way, and you claim it is based on the numbers.
Yes, on the numbers, yeah.
It's going to open a floodgate. And the one I'm predicting that will be coming out shortly, based only on a recent episode of CSI. And you remember CSI used to have CSI Miami, CSI New York, and those franchises were killed.
Yeah.
But they've kept CSI, so they need a new one. So I'm predicting CSI Cyber. And the reason is because they ran one of those episodes that was obviously...
John, don't you remember I told you this?
You might have.
But I told you, like, in secret?
Well...
So now I just want everyone to know that I told you this.
Yes.
And it was supposed to be secret.
Well, it's not secret when these two things happen on television.
No,
when it's obvious that they're priming the public for CSI Cyber, and here is Cybercrime 1. Listen to the dialogue.
Fall back. You are science cops. I'm a cyber cop. I work crimes that start in the mind, live online, and play out in the real world. You work dark alleys, I work the dark net. You chase suspects, I chase nodes. Node, short for bad guy. What? Little childlike drawing.
Bad guy.
This iceberg represents the internet. And believe it or not, the world only uses this top 4%. The tip. The surface web. I work down here in the 96%. In the deep web, where criminals are anonymous, where money is untraceable, and where everything illegal is for sale.
And what does this have to do with Mr. Berman?
Well, Berman's having a relationship with your mystery woman, a woman named Kitty. And Kitty is one of a kind.
Kitty.
It goes on and it shows Kitty as actually
I love it.
A robot girl that looks just like the real thing, and it goes it's crap. But but the whole thing is crap. And then the very end of the show, this Cybercrime 2 clip, this is the end of the episode. If this doesn't tell you that there's going to be a CSI Cyber, nothing will.
That was nice. So, this is goodbye, I guess, huh?
Well, for now.
Where are you off to?
Bank robbery. Pittsburgh.
How much?
3 cents.
Oh, give me a break. Talk to me. How much?
3 copper pennies from 80 million checking accounts. 2.4 million a week. Makes for one hell of a heist. Check your bank statements.
No kidding. And they say there's no such thing as the perfect crime.
It's not the perfect crime. It's cybercrime.
Yeah! Ba-da-da-da-da! Da-da-da-da! Woo! Miles and miles and miles and miles. Woo!
At least the guys who do NCIS make it a little more subtle that they're working on a new show.
Right.
Although it's been very observed and it's easy to spot. But this is ludicrous. This was the stupidest episode I've ever seen. And this woman is anything. If you want to see a nerd woman who was into this stuff, they're out there and they're on. You can find them on YouTube. This is some actress. And, Node equals bad guy. I mean, come on.
And Node is a bad guy. Bad guy. Wow.
So we're going to be stuck with this.
Well, so yes, it's coming, and in fact, I think it is called exactly that. What did you call it?
I call it CSI Cyber.
I think CSI. I think that's exactly what it's called, actually.
Okay. Well, I derived this from these clips, not from anything you told me.
Well, but subconsciously.
It's possible that subconsciously, when I saw this, even though it was such a dead giveaway, I was actually recording it originally because of the stupidity of the story. Because when they had this fake woman who was the sex bot. And then she's confused her with questions like, how many legs does a bicycle have? And she goes on and on. The thing literally fractalizes on the screen and then falls apart with like a wireframe. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. At the end, it was idiotic. And so that's what I thought I was going for. Then when the end came, when it's not a crime, it's cyber crime.
So then how does ABC get duped?
ABC has got something in the works.
But the CSI is CBS. That's what I'm saying. They got something in the works too. Okay.
I'm saying that ABC has also got something in the works.
Of course.
Because if CBS is going with, if CBS, which is the leader, so everyone copies them, they've got the Scorpion, which is a cybercrime story, and now they got CSI Cyber.
Got it. By the way, John, clowns, ready for it? And this is why we have the Global Intelligence Network. Stephen King's It to be remade. Stephen King published his best-selling horror novel It in 1986 under Viking Press. It was developed into a TV miniseries. And let's see, this is from May.
About an evil clown. It's always
Stephen King's new It remake is already shaping up to be increasingly more violent and bloody than the original. When is it due? Sometime in 2015. There you go. Ramp it up. So this is Hollywood promotion. These clowns.
Yeah.
Yeah, beat someone over the head with a pipe. Fine. That's a small price to pay for the dose
of numbers,
the kind of money that's going to be made with this. And people will go, really? No, yeah, really. You don't have to be so cynical to see.
Cynical?
No.
Of anything, we're the least cynical people I know.
Well, while we're on this for a moment, then. Maybe we should I should do this now. I think,
when the evidence is laid bare before your feet,
and
you say, look at this. This is what's going to happen.
Yeah, it's very obvious.
It's so obvious.
Yeah.
That's not being cynical.
iPhone,
schmyphone. The way I see it, the only good phone's a landline, and the phone should be made out of Bakelite.
Hey now, rubber. Did you see, I think this is very important tech news, John. Did you see the Amazon Echo?
No.
Okay. The Amazon Echo, which I believe you're an Amazon Prime member.
Oh, yes.
Yes. It will be $199 for non-Prime members, $99 for Prime members. And I have ordered this. I need to see it and use it. I need to see with my own eyes that, and I've seen postings. Mike Elgum, he wrote a post for one of his Computer World things. And he says, I love it. And all the comments are, this is great. I can't wait to get it. I recorded the whole promotional video, which is a little too long, but you'll hear, you'll understand what it is in the first 30 seconds.
Well, I'm looking at the web pages now, so I already know what it is.
When I first arrived from Amazon, I didn't know what it was. What is it?
You'll see.
Is it for me?
It's for everyone. It's called Amazon Echo.
How's it going?
I'm just finishing up right now.
Is it on?
Oh, it's always on.
Can it hear me right now?
Always on.
It only hears you when you use the wake word we chose. Alexa.
Well, what does it do?
Alexa, what do you do?
I can play music, answer questions, get the news and weather, create to-do lists, and much more.
And this thing goes on for 3 more minutes from here. And it's like you have a new member of the family. And how do I spell cantaloupe? And give me my flash news, Alexa. And does anyone see that this is a spy device you're placing in your home?
Totally a spy device. It's like that. It's like the Microsoft. Put that with Microsoft Connect.
Oh my!
You're connected.
You're good to go. It's just.
And the other details can be done through Facebook and Instagram.
I cannot wait for this thing. Because I want to. Because I'm an Amazon user. I'm going to do dog barking. I'm going to have all kinds of stuff to see if that influences my advertising that pops up or choices that I'm offered.
Oh, yeah.
It's got to be
connected. Study. Yeah, I think it's good that you get one.
And if you look at the, I've seen a EULA terms of service. I don't know if it's the real one, but it pretty much says, if you have something private, don't say it in front of this box. It almost literally says.
I wonder how many people want to have sex in front of the box.
Alexa, would you like to join us?
There you go.
Ah, man.
Alexa, Cortana, Siri. These are the ones Cortana and well, actually Alexa.
What is Cortana? Is that the Windows?
Cortana is the Microsoft. Yes. This is good. I'm sure that the public relations department at Edelman loves to hear you say, "What the hell's Cortana?" Cortana is the Siri for the Windows Phone.
Yeah, no.
And it's better.
It's better than Siri?
Oh yeah.
Oh really?
Yeah.
No.
The advertisements.
Okay.
Must be true.
Yeah, you're just saying that.
In fact, Siri and Cortana talk to each other in one of the ads. And
I have seen that. Okay, yes, I have seen
Cortana is humiliates Siri.
Much smarter. Man. But you know what, John? I think we can make our version, but it'll be kind of like the Magic 8-Ball. Outlook is cloudy. we should give it a name.
And make it a Magic 8-Ball?
Yeah. But it's some basic stuff.
Well, we could change the codes inside the Magic 8-Ball to say something like "in the morning."
So our code word is Mohammed.
Mohammed.
So hold on. I'll be. We need.
No, I'm not going to do a Mohammed joke. Forget it.
Okay. What do we do then? Let's do a different one.
Well, it has to be. I think it should. I think to work right. I think Microsoft's got the right idea. They have a hard sound. Cortana. I mean, it's easier to pick up than Theory or.
What is a really lame name?
Tiffany.
That's my sister's name. Don't say. What do you?
Oh, sorry, Tiffany.
No, don't do that.
His sister's lame names. It was subconscious.
How about J-Lo?
She's the one who doesn't listen to our show.
Yeah. No. Mickey's the only family member that listens to the show. Yeah. I just like to have one of these. Make one of them. We could throw a little Raspberry Pi in there. You know,
Jane is. I want to use.
No, how about a dude? No, it has to be a dude. It has to be a dude.
Dude.
How about just call it dude?
Dude
or Biff.
Dude. Okay.
All right. I'll be the dude box. Go ahead.
Dude.
Hello, John.
How do you spell cantaloupe?
Why don't you go blow me?
Yeah, that's the way it would work.
Yeah, that's all it says the whole time.
Yeah.
So,
Outlook cloudy. Ask again later.
What were some of the other Magic 8-Ball answers?
Outlook.
All signs point to yes.
All signs point to yes. Outlook hazy.
Yeah. Play me my flash news. And this is NPR News. I'm Lapshning Shmei. What's the girl's name? Lapshning Shmei?
I have no idea.
Anyway.
I don't even... I rarely listen to NPR. I mean, I do listen to the shows like On the Media and some of these other things, which are kind of... I don't know. They're kind of lame, but they once in a while bring out some good stuff.
But why do people want this? Do they believe in
it?
I'm seeing a very positive response.
Why?
Because
you could ask a box stupid questions that you can actually answer yourself just by going to Google.
Well, no, John, I think you're wrong about this. I think you're wrong on this one. I'm seeing Siri I think is a big hit for certain applications.
Uses Siri anymore.
I believe you're wrong.
I've never seen anyone using it.
I see Mickey use it all the time. And you know how she uses it? She owns one application, but she uses it.
Okay.
For directions. So she'll just say, Botticelli Restaurant, Austin. And then Siri goes, okay, I see you have a restaurant nearby. It's called Botticelli's. Would you like me to program the directions for you? And then
that seems like a big waste of time with the Google phone. You open up Maps and you push the microphone and then you say Botticelli Restaurant, Austin.
Yeah.
And then it just gives you the directions. It doesn't talk to you. You go, oh, okay. Well, let me look for you and all this other bull crap. It just gives you the map and instructions on how to get there. It cuts out all this nonsense. It's nonsense.
I'm just telling you that it works.
Well, I'm sure it does work.
And I'm sure that
some of the time.
I'm sure that it would be just lovely to be, dude, how do you spell cantaloupe? That is actually the example in that Amazon video. The father can't remember. He's like C-A-N-T.
Why is he spelling cantaloupe in the living room or wherever?
No, it's in the kitchen because the kid is doing homework and needs to know how to spell cantaloupe.
And so the kid asks the dad, and the dad asks the Amazon?
The box. Yeah, the box.
Why does the kid just ask the box?
Because, I don't know. It's very subtle training. It's like, kids, don't ask your parents. They're stupid. It's subtle. Anyway, along with our tech news, I wind it up with this little ditty here. Interesting report. Who wrote this? I think it's from the New York Times. That if you have a car with most modern cars have like the GPS stuff in there, tracking, etc.
Yes,
and apparently enough of them have GPS-based kill switches that some creditors are now disabling the vehicles if you're behind on your subprime car loan payments. They just disable the car.
What if you're driving and you're passing another car and a truck is coming at you? You got to punch it and get over, or they're going to get killed.
You're asking me questions that of course, I don't have an answer to. I just thought it was interesting that that this is now taking place.
Well, two things were going to happen with this. One, that's one of them.
Yeah.
The second one, of course, is when you go in, because you're going to have to get your car smogged in most states. California being one of them.
Yeah, if you don't have the right sticker, or if you haven't read something else, it'll just be disabled, just won't work.
No. They're going to go through the records and say, oh, looks like you were speeding on Tuesday last week. You went
yes,
1 mile over the speed limit, and you know that's a violation.
Yeah.
Oh, looks like you ran a red light. Oh, look, here's another speeding. Oh, this was 10 miles over the speed limit. That's going to be a hefty fine.
You're right.
You'll be getting your bill in the mail.
You're right.
And I believe that's what this is really all about. This is not for the convenience of anybody. It's for the state to get, they need money. These states are, I was just listening to this. I have a clip here because somebody wrote in saying, you guys use shadow stats. It's bullcrap.
Yeah.
And
that was his actual voice.
Yeah, exactly. And which is to imply that, or commentary, which was that the public was voting for the Republicans because they felt that the economy was not in a turnaround situation and things were getting worse. This was scoffed at by Gwen Ifill and the other PBS
just
folks.
Couldn't believe it.
Oh, it's not true. We're doing great. So here's a little thing I got from, there's a little meeting in one of the conference rooms somewhere in Washington, D.C. by the Governance Magazine, which is what all the state governors and people like work in the government read. And this is just the states are broke. States are broke.
State budgets and revenue growth at state level had been about 6% for decades until 2008, and it just looks like half the states still are not where they were 2008, and the revenue growth is not going to be that great, and you're going to have Republicans who are interested in cutting taxes further. But even on the Democratic side, I was really struck by this quote today in the New York Times. Jerry Brown, the story was rare bright spot for Democrats. And he said, his quote was, living within our means is a heroic continuing battle here. Brown has fought the Democratic legislature to keep spending limited. And Pat Quinn, who lost in Illinois, he'd cut pensions, but the unions supported him because they thought Bruce Rauner would be worse. I mean, the Democrats are having to be austere as well, and the Republicans, of course, are more conservative on spending in general. So I think that's that's going to be the impact. Less Democratic venues and more Republican governance.
Yeah, that really irks me.
They need money, and they're going to get money with those devices put on your car.
Yes.
It's easy money. And by the way, it goes like this. This sucks that you guys are tracking me with this stuff. Did you go over the speed limit or not? You went over the speed limit. It says so right here. So what are you complaining about? There's a speed limit for a reason. And you went over it.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, this turn that you made was an illegal U-turn. That's $100.
Yeah. The taxi cabs in Amsterdam now have this full-on complete. They've all by law now have to have an electronic box. The box registers their speed, how long they were driving, because you have a personal card, a chip and poke card, poke and pin, and you slide it in, and so you're driving the car, and it won't start without it, so it registers where you are if you went over the speed limit, and they haven't been sending out tickets yet for violations like that, but it's coming, and all the cab drivers know it.
Well, cab drivers today, everybody tomorrow. I don't see any reason why you wouldn't get in your personal car and you have your driver's license, which is also a poke and pin card. You stick it, slide it through some little mechanism, or you just poke it through an NFC connection. You just beep, beep.
Yeah.
And the car is this began with the keys that became a wireless transmitter, and you push a button to start your car. This is 10 years ago when you first started seeing these things. And you have your keys in your pocket. You don't even pull the keys out because there's no keyhole to stick a key in. You just have a radio in there, and then you push the button, the car starts up. This would be the future of how they monitor where you're going, how you're going. And it's not because, I would say, at least not in the beginning, that someday it could become this. It's not just to track you so the black helicopters can blow you out of the water in the middle of the freeway. It's to get money from you, to catch you speeding and making U-turns and doing all sorts of things that are or floating around when you should be in the hospital and you're collecting insurance. This is what it's about. It's about the money.
I recommend everybody read the fine piece of work by Ted Kaczynski. Because this is exactly what he said, people.
iPhone, schmyphone.
And that wraps up Tech News.
I'm going to show my support by donating to No Agenda. Imagine all the people who could do that. Oh, yeah, that'd be fab. Yeah, on No Agenda. In the morning.
A quick shout out to Void Zero, who is doing his best. It looks like we might have a hardware failure.
Oh, well, that happens a lot.
It happens. So he's working. And he said, okay, I'm able to explain. I'll explain it to you later. Yeah, it's a good idea. I'm doing a show. So while I'm doing a show, I'm also I'm reconnecting streams. I do a lot here. You barely know.
Like a man with 6 arms.
That's right.
People can only imagine you flying around, pushing buttons, and it's pretty.
I want people to just imagine. That's all.
Let's thank a few people for today's show, including Stephen Hutto in Denver, Colorado, who came in with a check, a bank check, one of those bank checks, time payment plan or whatever.
Yeah.
Which we'll talk about a little bit on that Christmas show, by the way. 15678. So he's got 5678, but a 1. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I like it.
Good number.
Cutting Edge Solutions in Scotland, Glasgow. A 13401. I'm donating so that I can have a shout out about Russell Brand. Lots of people in the UK. By the way, this is not this. You don't get a shout out necessarily for 134.
We don't do shout outs.
But a lot of people in the UK are taking this self-styled Jesus light for the masses seriously. Okay, well, we don't.
No.
He's got some link to the Rothschilds.
Oh, I'm sure. Russell Rothschild Brand, anybody? Funny.
Okay.
Yeah, no. Right on.
And it's drivel, not
Have you ever tried to read something he wrote?
No, that guy doesn't even
halfway through, he's my head's spinning, my eyes are popping out of my sockets. Like, what are you saying, Brand?
Mathieu Helly in Gatineau, Quebec. Mathieu. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He said, even though we got a complaint about
we got big complaints.
I laughed so hard with Dempsey's whistling sound on 667. Thank you for this. It made my day.
I always check in on the Facebook, the No Agenda Facebook.
Yeah, I saw that thing. No Agenda, the No Agenda complainers on Facebook.
It was really, I've had it. I'm leaving.
I've had it with the whistling.
I'm out. That's you. I'm out. It's the whistling and the harmonica. I'm out, I say. I'm out.
Yeah, it's the same guy. It's that one guy. He hates the harmonica because it hurts his ears, and the whistling really got to him.
You know, the guy who wrote you about the harmonica is the guy who said...
yes, the guy who was going, you guys are kind of entertaining, but I'm out. There were 2 long-winded notes. I got sick of it, and I blocked him.
No, you answered with a long note. You answered with a long note.
I answered him, I got fed up. I had to say something.
Yeah, you were really pissed off.
Yes, I was.
Yeah.
I think it's a very, the way this guy handled it, it was condescending, patronizing nonsense. I just wasn't going to put up with it. And then the insults. Well, you're kind of entertaining. You were entertaining, even though you're...
Where's the call to action?
Yeah, when he asked, where's the call to action? What is this, a seminar?
Here's how it goes. This is real! Buy seeds!
Yeah, your call to action is buying seeds.
Buy seeds. All right, onward. Thank these people.
John Knowles of Murfreesboro, Tennessee, 11111. William Hyatt in Fayetteville, Arkansas, $100. It was a donor, became a boner. What?
Boner became a donor.
It was a donor, then became a boner. Now he's always making up for the last time. Sir Mark Milliman in Longmont, Colorado, $99.90. Katie Passeret, I'm guessing, in Jersey City, New Jersey, 7730. There's a long note. And get your pen. Get your pen.
I got my pen. Is this some birthday thingy?
Yeah, birthday coming up.
Okay, let me get my pen. I have. Can I just say, I purchased a box of the Energel Liquid Gel Ink 0707.
Are they different colors?
No, this is the metal tip 0.7 millimeter ball.
Yeah.
This is a dynamite pen.
Oh, this is the one my bank teller uses.
Oh,
I've written with it. It's like writing with. It's like there's no friction at all.
Well, it has friction, but it's because I'm very sloppy with my handwriting, and if you get a pen that really is too easy, then you can't read anything. This one has enough friction. I'll post a link to it in the show notes. It's a dynamite pen.
Now we're pushing pens.
It's a dynamite.
Okay, whatever.
This is Ebola is real. Get a pen. All right, I'm ready. Let's write this. Buy my pen.
Dear gentlemen, enclosed find this is her first donation to the best podcast in the universe. I have to read this note, handwritten. Please credit this donation to Stefan. And it looks like, this is great because it looks like Olker, Olker, my boyfriend, which is very sweet.
Now, does she spell Stefan Stephan? En. So maybe it's Steven.
Could be. But it looks like Stefan to me.
No, that would be with an A. It's Steven.
Okay, it's Stephen Olker. For his quest toward a knighthood, you're going to have to keep... I'm going to tell you right now, Katie, you're going to have to keep books on this. Yeah. I also give him a birthday shout out. Last month, he donated for my birthday, so I had to step up and return the favor. Steve is a long-time No Agenda listener and donator and has never received the NA birthday shout out.
Aww.
Anywho, he says, my donation is 7737.
Hold on. I got to buzz that. I can't stand
it. Anywho is a belated.
Anyways. Yeah.
I think anyways with a Z is the way to go, by the way.
Anyways.
Delayed 7th anniversary nod for you fine fellows, plus 37 cents because that is how old Steve is turning today. That's how old he's turning.
It's very nice. Thursday,
11/13. Thank you for all of your hard work and so on. So nice. Steve
Olker.
Olker.
Olker?
That's what it looks like.
Okay. Hey, that's nice. That's very kind of you, Katie. Is she banging him?
Well, she will be after this.
In the morning. There you go, everybody.
Okay, onward. Chad Inman in Los Angeles, California.
You know, it's a good thing Robin Williams is dead because we can fit right into that the vacuum.
Yeah, right. Chad Inman, Los Angeles, California, 76. Frank Pugh in Tallahassee, Florida, $75 says, thanks, guys. Sir Craig Kuttner, got a birthday coming up, Norwalk, Connecticut, 7373. John Haller, 6969, parts unknown. Taylor Cazella in Lost Wages, Nevada, 5678.
567. Let me read this. Adam read Angela Cumbera's donation on Thursday's show, and it brought me to tears. A lot of people, by the way. I can only imagine the heartbreak Angela and her daughters have been through. To aid in Tom's posthumous knighting, I am matching Angela's donation of $56.78 and setting up an additional recurring check by mail through my bank. Please give the Kumbera family a shot of karma for me, and I would love to do that. Absolutely.
You've got karma.
Well, he's not the only one. Apparently, Daniel Torello in Charleston, South Carolina, astonishing town, by the way, 5678 says Tom's knighthood.
So is this now Tom's donation?
I guess it is.
It's Tom's donation number.
Somebody picked it up, 5678. 5678 from Bill Hartnett in Torrance, California, put toward Tom's knighthood.
Oh, wow. That's really
Brett Fegley in San Clemente, California, 5555. He's been a douche way too long, he says. Daniel Baumgartner in Gartner in Plano, Texas, right up the street from you, 5133.
He sends funny notes. Thank you for waking me from my Google Glass Explorer drone sleep.
That is funny. Boy Wilmsen, Wilmscn in Rotterdam.
Willemsen. Yeah.
Willemsen.
That is not an uncommon name in Holland.
Boy?
Yeah, boy. Okay. There was I think probably people around my age, some of them were called Boy.
That'd be funny if you were named Boy.
Yeah, hilarious.
Sir John Adams in Stratford, Connecticut, 50. These are all $50 donors. David Pete in Aubrey, Texas. Agent G in San Ramon, California. Jan van der Laan in Assen.
Yep.
50. Mm-hmm. James V. Carlson, Denver, Colorado. Carol Garrett.
And she also says, please would like to place this towards Angela of Prescott's Arizona husband's knighthood.
She's in Eureka, Kansas. Mm-hmm. I didn't know there was a Eureka.
Oh, that's really nice of everybody.
Yeah, it is nice.
Beautiful.
Steve Winslow in Bristol, UK. Judy Schwartz in Bern, Texas. Sir Mark Tanner in Whittier, California. And finally, Brian C. Watson in Raleigh, North Carolina. I want to thank all these folks who are helping us out on 668. We'll put the money toward the knighthood, posthumous knighthood for Tom. And appreciate all the thoughts, and hope you remember we do have a show 669 coming up on Thursday.
Do you have the window open?
No.
Do you have a fan on?
The fan on the computer, because it's hot in here,
that's
turned on. And even though it's completely behind this microphone, I don't think the back, these condenser mics do have back problems. Sorry.
No, that's okay. It's a little audible now.
Is it noisy really bad?
No, nothing's really bad. Come on. We have the best sound and the best podcast in the universe with no meetings. Wall Street Journal recognizes our model, everybody.
Dvorak.org/NA. It's your birthday. On No Agenda.
3 lined up for you today. Peter Pookie, 57 today. Happy birthday. Sir Craig Cable also celebrating today. And Katie Passeret says happy birthday to Stephen Olker, 37. And he never had a fight. Congratulations. Happy birthday from all your buddies here at the best podcast in the universe.
It's your birthday, yeah.
Then we have our Insta Night from Peter Pookie, who is out there looking for your blade. Thank you very much. And he will receive some yacht search karma, as he will be sailing the 7 seas without his wife, who took all his money. So, Peter Pookie, I hereby pronounce-icate thee as Sir Captain Pete of the 7 equatorial oceans and Knight of the No Agenda Roundtable. For you, my friend, we have hookers and blow, Rinboys and Chardonnay, root beer and Legos, ass cream with bear fillings, porn stars and pot, mushroom and maker's mark, bong hits and bourbon, sparkling cider and escorts, or maybe just some mutton and mead if that's what you're into for those long nights on the yacht. Some mutton and mead will always do you well. And please,
jerky.
And some jerky. Go to noagendanation.com/rings and just tell us which port to send it to. We'll be happy to oblige.
General delivery.
As ready. And let me see. What do we have? Here's a couple things.
I've teased the last thing Cohen. Our buddy Stephen Cohen.
Professor Cohen.
Professor Cohen, the only reasonable person seems to be either that or he's a Russian agent.
Yeah, he's probably an agent.
Yeah, that's what I'm guessing.
Yeah.
So he's on one of the shows with Amy Goodman. No, this was a PBS. And he gets into it with this guy who's at first, I can't remember his first name, Weiss. He used to work for the State Department. He's kind of a pasty-looking guy who's just an apologist for the government. And I think this is let's start with the part 1 liars.
Was it William Weiss? No.
This is Cohen versus Weiss.
No, I'm just trying to think what Weiss it is.
I don't
Liars?
remember. It might be William.
Well, let me turn this to Russia, Stephen Cohen, because you said a moment ago that Putin, or you said the Russian leadership, at least a big part of it, wants negotiations. How then do you explain the military incursion on Ukrainian territory, what we just heard from General Breedlove from NATO, what he called provocative overflights over Western Europe by the Russians?
I don't know how to put this gently, and I don't want to sound disloyal to the people who represent our countries, but we have had quite a few reports, and not only from General Breedlove, but from the Swedish and the British, about so-called Russian incursions that have turned out not to be true. And we've heard these for months and months, and now in the last few days, we are told that the Russians are doing all sorts of provocative military things. Yes. Unmentioned is the fact that NATO is building up its military forces closer and closer to Russia. Do we expect the Russians not to react? Can we trust these reports that we constantly get out of Brussels and out of Kiev? I think that these are the utterances of people who want to escalate the crisis. What we need now is a kind of leadership that sees war as so dangerous in the sense that it might bring in Russia and the United States, that all the energy and all the public statements are directed toward negotiations. I simply don't agree with Andrew that Kiev has made a good faith effort toward negotiations or even in maintaining the ceasefire.
Yeah.
There was something peculiar in that commentary that I didn't catch right away.
Oh.
But it was the mention of all things. He didn't talk about these reports coming from Latvia or Estonia or Germany or any place else, but he mentioned specifically Sweden. What has Sweden got to do with anything? Sweden, the way I saw this, if you listen to that clip again, the way I saw it, at least at the beginning, I saw this as Sweden was the only country that would step up to the bullshit and actually be counted as, the Russians, they're making trouble, I can tell. And this is dimensional, because this tells me that indeed the Swedes are going to turn over Assange if they get the chance. They've sold out to us.
Well, they're always our special envoy. Isn't the Swedish embassy the one who communicates for us inside North Korea?
I don't know. Maybe, yeah. I think you might be right. Yeah.
Or in Iran, it's always the Swedish embassy.
The Swedes. Yeah, there are.
You can't trust them, man. And that Saab car. I mean, really, this. And ABBA. Come on. I mean, what else? Roxette. I kind of liked Roxette. Roxette was okay. They got tons of songwriters in Sweden. Good songwriters.
And we got
poppy songs.
Part 2, if you want to play it.
Of course, it's Professor Cohen, please.
NATO's top commander, General Philip Breedlove, spoke today at the Pentagon.
What you saw this past week was a larger, more complex formation of aircraft, carrying out a little deeper and I would say a little bit more provocative flight path. And so it is a concern.
Back in Kiev, Ukrainian President Petro Poroshenko has called a meeting of his top security chiefs tomorrow.
Okay, I probably should play that clip first. But
that's okay. It's okay. We get it. Well, there's a lot going on today in Euroland. Very big day for Spain and Catalonia.
Tensions are running high ahead of Sunday's vote, which has been called by the nationalist regional government of Catalonia, with the support of pro-independence political parties and grassroots groups. Voters will be asked 2 questions. Do you want Catalonia to be a state? And if so, do you want that state to be independent? But the referendum is technically illegal. The Spanish government has successfully appealed to the country's highest court to deem the vote unconstitutional.
Y lo de mañana
What's going to happen tomorrow can be called whatever you want, but it's not a referendum or something similar, and I am not going to describe it. But I want to say that it will have no effect.
However, the head of the Catalan government, Artur Mas, has vowed to push ahead with the referendum, which he acknowledges will not be legally binding. In an apparent attempt to avoid further clashes with the Spanish government, Mr. Mas has said that thousands of volunteers will administer the voting process, rather than his regional administration. Polls show that around half of Catalonia's 7.5 million inhabitants favour independence. But with most of those who oppose a break from Spain likely to stay away from the referendum because of its illegal status, an overwhelming win for the yes camp is expected.
Now here's the kicker. They do not expect to have the results for at least 2 weeks.
Huh? Why?
Because it's not an official vote, and you know it's
because it's not official. You can't count as fast. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Well, also they need people to give people enough time to all go to the polling places, and then they have unpaid volunteers, of course,
doing
this.
Essentially a survey.
It's a bit of a survey, true. But you know, it's interesting. It's interesting to see.
The Spanish.
And I think that we may have a hand in it. I'm seeing professional-looking signs. You know, that's always a little...
Oh, what would be the point of us?
I don't know, John. Why not? Why not?
Just to keep in practice?
Just to practice rubelization.
You got a training camp in Catalonia that you're going to work on. You're going to learn how to do a little social networking. You'll be there for 2 weeks, and then you're going to work on getting the vote out. And you all speak good Spanish, yeah, right? Yes? Okay, good. Yeah. You'll be there for a couple weeks, and then we'll grade you afterwards.
Yeah. It's a very funny report out of the United Kingdoms, as now 9 countries have received a deadline extension for this overpayment, or this a payment in arrears for the EU budget.
Yeah, the payment. This is great.
The payment. This is really...
I just am not following this closely, but I know it's hilarious.
Well, so here's what's funny. First of all, the reason why it happened is because everyone who said, "Hey, we got hookers and drugs and stuff in our GDP," and then the EU went, "Fine, you owe us more money."
Right, but that was a mistake.
Yeah, that was not good. And so they have to. I
mean, if these guys are smart, they say we're in a depression. We have no money. But
well.
Because a lot of national investors,
a lot of countries are having problems. They actually don't have the money. Bulgaria has to pay 7 million euros, and
they haven't even got that.
No, because they can't print money. Everyone's in euros, so it's a problem. It's a big problem. So the UK has to pay 1.7 million pounds, or 2.12 billion euros, and this is not looking good for Cameron. So they came up with a ruse, and the ruse goes something like this: we fixed it. Yeah, we fixed it. We won't have to pay until next year, and we won't have any interest payments. We fixed that, and the rest we get is a rebate.
How did they manage to fix it?
Brussels asked the UK to pay an extra £1.7 billion because our economy grew more than expected. But it's now been agreed half that amount will be offset by a rebate because of the extra VAT raised. And the outstanding amount will be paid in 2 instalments, in July and September next year, after the general election. But the Shadow Chancellor took to Twitter to denounce the deal. Nobody will fall for this smoke and mirrors, he tweeted. George Osborne is simply counting rebate Britain was due anyway. Not a single penny's been saved for the taxpayer, he said, compared to 2 weeks ago when Cameron was blustering in Brussels. And Mr. Balls claimed, Cameron and Osborne are trying to take people for fools. They failed to get a better deal for taxpayer.
Yeah, so they just...
That's the world's longest tweet. How did they do that?
Ed Balls.
Yeah, Ed Balls.
That's what our device should be called. Balls.
Balls?
Balls? Okay, here, let's try it.
Balls.
Yes, John.
How do you spell cantaloupe? Balls. You're laughing at me.
Does not compute, Will Robinson.
Yeah, I can't do it.
So I'm looking here. We have the euro at $1.24, which is less than $1.
Nice.
Nice. Fantastic.
Nice.
And that's been taken. I was hoping that was happening 2 years ago, but now's the time. Now the Japanese yen is way too cheap. It's at $1. It's 114. It should be. Generally, it used to be parity at about 100. Then it became 80, which meant that everything in Japan was more expensive. But now that it's so cheap, this is discounting all the Japanese cars. This is
a disaster for Japan.
Not for Japan. They'll export a lot.
Wow.
It's a disaster for our automakers. The way I see.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
The British, because now you added.
But don't we make all that stuff here?
The price of a Lexus by 30%.
But don't we make those cars here?
Some of them we do. Most the high ticket ones are made in Japan. And that also affects the prices here, too, because the parts come over from Japan. The British pound is still a little high at $1.58, but that's better than the $1.70. And the price of oil is now down to 78.
Oh, man.
And gold is down to 1169. So things are looking up.
And where's the stock? Is the stock market up towards 1800 yet?
I don't know, 18,000.
That's what I mean. I'm such an investor.
1,800.
I'm an astute investor.
It's at 17,573, and I'm guessing it should crack 18,000 in the next month before the end of the year.
This is not investment advice.
I wouldn't invest at these prices. No, now, I would go to Europe, and especially if the dollar gets to $1.15, that'd be great.
What? Just go hang around?
Go hang out.
Yeah, well, I'm going to Europe.
Well, I'm not. I'm staying home.
Hey, I'm looking at my. Why did Tom Collins come out?
Your Tom Collins is out.
Yeah, Tom.
Get back in the pants.
Steve Cook.
I'm sorry, I didn't misunderstand.
Timothy Cook.
Yeah.
Tom Cook Collins. Tim Collins.
Whatever.
We have, so I'm looking for more big names coming out, as I think that this.
You have this thesis
that it may be to pave the way for Hillary to come out before she announces her candidacy.
That is your theory.
Yeah, I like it. If she did that, I think that would be the kicker. That would be the way for her to
not win.
Well, I don't know.
Finally, something.
Latvian foreign minister.
Yeah, here's why she wouldn't win, and this is why I don't think this is going to happen. It would be although it could happen if she gets the bad advice that she normally gets, but it would be a shot at Bill.
Well, of course,
the guy,
of course.
It'd be just a shot at Bill.
Well, I think it actually would help him.
Get laid?
Well, no. So then everyone will say, "Oh, well, of course she was gay. No wonder he was horny."
Yeah, right. It would help him. You're right. It would help him, but it would be a shot that would hurt her, and she would not get elected.
Okay,
it's not going to happen.
Latvian Foreign Minister Edgars Rinkēvičs has come out of the closet.
Oh,
and
you're correct in this assumption that this is going to be a wave.
And he tweeted #ProudToBeGay. This is the hashtag you got to use. Proud to be gay.
So did you look at all the proud to be gay hashtags?
I have not. Should we do that?
That should be done.
Let's do it for a second. What is it?
There must be a lot on there.
Twitter. Okay. Where do I search? Search. Here we go. Hashtag proud to be gay. Let's see what we come up with. And what do we come up with? I have to go to all.
Proud.
Oh, okay. There's quite a bit there. This is a lot about him. Cole Ledford, you're so brave and incredible.
Proud to be gay. There's a lot of proud to be gay.
Quite a lot of proud to be gay.
Which one do you want to use then? Why can't they just all use the one? Okay, I'll just leave it at that and see what happens.
Okay, we'll keep our eye on that. Proud to be gay. Now, the Advocate, this I thought was of note. As you know, I always try to...
Somebody in the Proud to be Gay list has a kitten similar to the one that I posted in the newsletter.
Oh, really?
In other words, one cat holding another.
I think this should be the subject of our next newsletter. # proud to be gay.
I don't see any content here.
See what the opens are. Listen to me. The Advocate. Are you familiar with this magazine, The Advocate?
Oh, yeah. It's a very famous, I think it's out of San Francisco.
Yes, a very famous magazine. And they have
it's a newspaper, actually.
Well, it's online. I don't know if anyone still buys the... oh, man. Have you noticed this, that they now have... If you want to read this article, you have to answer 2 survey questions?
This is a chicken... Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know that, but I've seen that trick used before.
And now I went to the Advocate, and it's an advertisement, and it says, continue reading Advocate after this video. So I'm sitting here.
You're going to be very intrigued by the kind of advertisements you now get on Amazon and elsewhere.
Oh, because of my # proud to be gay going to Advocate?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll keep my eye on it.
Yeah, it's going to be hilarious.
They have chosen their person of the year.
Oh. Is it the computer?
Is it the computer? No. No. Would please go to theadvocate.com and look at the person of the year, but also look at the cover of the issue 1078 and look how they just look at it. Just tell me what you're seeing.
Well, I have to look at it first.
Yeah.
Advocates search.
You'll probably have to sit through.
Nick Jonas?
No.
He's the guy of the year?
No, the person of the year.
Oh.
Come on.
I have a picture of the Jonas, and then I have... Oh, man, this thing's a piece of crap. It's loading every which way.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Well, I'm sorry. Advocate.
It's going...
The Advocate.
There's a bunch of jokes I can use about the way this is loading.
Yeah, I know. Don't do it.
I don't see any Person of the Year link.
Really?
Oh, Person of the Year, Vladimir Putin.
Now look at the picture.
Putin with a Hitler mustache.
The Person of the Year is the Hitler mustache.
And you know what's interesting about this picture of Putin? He looks like Clapper. No, he looks like, what's his name? The guy who owns the Chertoff. He looks like Chertoff.
He looks a little bit like Bloomberg, too, actually.
The Person of the Year is Vladimir Putin. Well, what's the point?
Oh, because this is the gayest of all gay magazines, newspapers, and they're calling him out as the worst, most homophobic, horrible Hitler Person of the Year. So they're comparing Putin to Hitler in their
I'm getting that. Now, unfortunately, I can't see anymore because I got some stupid advertisement that cropped up.
Yeah, that you have to watch for 27 seconds.
Now I have to watch this. It's a MasterCard ad. I'm killing
I got the same one. That's horrible.
It ruined my experience. This is the problem with advertising. You ruined my experience. I couldn't even read the Putin piece.
Yeah. And then, of course, they have all these stats, and Putin hates gays, and Putin's anti-gay, and Sochi Olympics hate the gays.
Yeah, it's a Putin hit job by the Advocate, who are obviously have been visited by that character whose clip you ran a little earlier. The Hollywood hit guy.
That's possible. It could be.
Or either that or they just bought into all the memes and they don't care.
Could be. Okay, quick caliphate. So we had another strike, the Allies strike, and we have zero evidence of anything. And what do we get? We got al-Baghdadi. We clipped his wing. I think we got him. We might have gotten him. I think we probably did something. We blew something up and we struck some. Yeah.
10 armed trucks were destroyed in the attack. But in a statement, an official from US Central Command said, "We cannot confirm if IS leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi was among those present. This strike demonstrates the pressure we continue to place on the IS terrorist network and the group's increasingly limited freedom to maneuver, communicate and command." It's not the first time there's been speculation about the IS leader being killed or injured. A day after such rumours in July, the terror group uploaded this video, claiming to show al-Baghdadi preaching at a mosque in Mosul.
How many times are we going to kill this guy?
Well, it doesn't matter because the next guy will take the same name.
Right.
It's not his name. It's just
al-Baghdadi.
It's like El Presidente.
But it's like we had to do everything. We had used the basketball angle. What happened is the president did not convince anyone for his party. Poor job. Politico, by the way, is calling for him to fire Valerie Jarrett, which I think is funny. It's a great article. Get her out.
Yeah, she's the one that's responsible for all these failures.
Oh, yeah. But that's not going to happen. And no. And, then we have this bombing. Oh, we think it's lies. It's just lies. It's all cover up and lies, bull crap. So I switched over to the BBC. I couldn't watch any more of it. And the BBC on Newsnight, in advance of the new Android operating system, which comes out soon, doesn't it? Don't we have a new? It's called Skittles or M&Ms or what is their?
It's called
cute
something.
Name. Yeah, cotton candy, whatever. Who cares? But they are pre-marketing, and this is what this part is. Pre-marketing that just like the iPhone, they will have complete encryption on the device, so that no one can steal your stuff from the device. Of course, this is really a setup to have everybody believe that it's all encrypted, because they leak all this stuff. I mean, the whole idea behind Android is to track you and have you upload stuff automatically to the cloud and Google Drive and Google Calendar and Gmail and blah. But I did think it was noteworthy to clip.
In the latest manifestation, the new head of GCHQ, Robert Hannigan, writes in the FT, increasingly their services not only host the material of violent extremism or child exploitation, but are the routes for the facilitation of crime and terrorism. However much they may dislike it, they have become the command and control networks of choice for terrorists and criminals who find their services as transformational as the rest of us. One thing that government agencies find maddeningly frustrating is not being able to get hold of the wealth of data stored on someone's mobile phone, even if they have a court order. Today, Google began rolling out the latest version of its Android operating system. This encrypts by default. The result is that even if you pit the most powerful computer known to man against a phone like this, the phone wins. The lead Android security engineer
I know, it's bull crap.
Google.
This is just bull crap.
Yeah, that's why I like it.
Explained the company's reasoning to Newsnight.
Whenever people have built systems and tried to make it possible for only the good guys to get in, it always turns out the bad guys figure out how to do that as well. And so this is a system where we built it using the best cryptography that we're aware of, that the industry knows about, and we make it so that only the person who knows the password can get in. And there is no backdoor. There is no way that you can call a locksmith or your best tech-savvy friend and he can let you in. It's just not going to work.
Yeah, it's called Lollipop. The new
Lollipop.
So they have a conversation.
She had the song Lollipop, Lollipop, pop, 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 pop.
They have a conversation in the studio, and they have the CEO of LastMinute.com, which is the big last-minute travel booking site, very successful, huge. And, of course, the conversation that is now being held in the United States of Gitmo East, UK's, is should we allow the authorities to have access to our data through, obviously a strong legal framework, so that they can, track down the child molesters or whatever. And this guy says a couple of interesting things.
Let me just take this up with Brent Hoberman. I mean, Brent, these techie guys. Are they on the wrong side of this argument?
These techie guys?
Techie guys?
Could you be any more insulting and condescending, you news douche?
These techie guys.
Here's a news reader saying, techie guys. Everybody, is that all right, techie guys?
I'm afraid I feel they are a bit. I think what's happened is that there's actually been a bit of an overreaction post-Snowden, and we've gone to this other extreme, is that any sort of access is terrible. And the fact, I'm a bit disappointed that Apple and others are marketing their new phones and saying it's impossible for the security services to get in. We need more trust in the security services, I agree, and there were too many people that had access to Snowden files, 800,000 people or something.
What? Did he just say 800,000 people had access to the Snowden files?
Well, that's not what he meant.
I think that's exactly what he meant.
No, I think what he meant was 800,000 people had the same access as Snowden.
Okay, let me listen to it again. Maybe I misunderstood.
There were too many people that had access to Snowden files, 800,000 people or something. That's too...
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay. So 800,000 people had access. But Snowden files, he had PowerPoints. Who gives a crap?
Well, what he meant was the files that Snowden collected, or the Snowden files, there were 800,000 people that could have done that.
Yeah, but this PowerPoint.
They had access, is what he's saying.
So what's
I
the
don't
point?
See this being
No, but then I don't understand what he's saying. Then I don't get it at all.
What he's saying is that there's too many people with this sort of access.
But that makes no sense.
Well, let's play the whole thing again, and then maybe we can figure it out.
New phones and saying it's impossible for the security services to get in. We need more trust in the security services. I agree. And there were too many people that had access to Snowden files, 800,000 people or something. That's too many.
Okay, makes sense. What he's saying is that, these guys, he says there's this pendulum swing and it goes one way and then to one extreme to the other. It was like ridiculous that 800,000 people had access to everybody's personal information, the Snowden stuff. And now nobody will have access, which, of course, we don't know is true. But it sounds like, they've gone too far. Maybe they should have done something in between. So the important security folks could at least get into the phones if they wanted to.
Agreed. All I'm saying is Snowden had no access to any systems. He had access to PowerPoints that talked about systems.
Well,
we've never seen any code or anything to show the existence of this stuff.
Yeah, no, it's true.
So I don't know if Snowden had access to it. He had access to the PowerPoint.
Access to some files.
Yeah. It's ant fucking. I agree. Anyway, so I'll move on from that guy. He's uninteresting. He wants it, of course. He thinks it's great. And then they bring in the.
But he thinks it's great that they're encrypting these phones.
No, he thinks it's great that there should be access to the phones. He's all in on.
And we don't. And this could be all. My opinion. This is all bull crap anyway. Because the deal's already been done. These phones are not secure.
Exactly.
It's just to fool the dummies.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then the last guy I'll bring in is ex-MI6 guy, Richard Barnett. And he, of course, is going to tell you that what we need is I think we need a serious debate, which will be just sliding you into the inevitable, people.
Well, I think the issue of trust is a very important one. I wouldn't agree with your characterization of the security services' actions, because I think they were very careful, particularly in the United Kingdom, to abide by the law. Now, whether you think that what the United Kingdom security services were doing, where the law perhaps left a bit of a gap, well, that's another matter. But I think that, generally speaking, GCHQ or the other agencies were very, very careful indeed to always ensure that they were following the letter of the law and the spirit of the law, too, I would say, for that matter. Sure. But if the trust has been undermined by Snowden's revelations, and that is one of the additional damages he's done, then clearly that trust has to be rebuilt. And that, therefore, does give rise, I think, and room for a very useful debate.
Intelligence work takes place within a strong legal framework. We operate under the rule of law and are accountable for it. In some countries, secret intelligence is used to control their people. In ours, it only exists to protect their freedoms. Protect their freedoms. Protect their freedoms. Protect their freedoms.
Freedom! Subjugation is liberation! Contradiction is truth! Those are the facts of this world! And you will all surrender to them! You pigs in human clothing!
And her head is gone.
Yeah, there you go. That summarizes the whole thing.
That's it. That is it. That's it.
All right. Well, I got nothing to top that. I do have a funny out clip if you want to play it.
Well, if it's funny.
It's funny. This is the thing. I don't like doing these, and we've only done them once before, but they're funny to watch and listen to. This is and they're easy to do. I think we could do these. You can just fake censor somebody, make it sound like they're saying something dirty if they have like
okay. What are we doing? What are we doing?
A hard sound at the end of a word.
Uh-huh.
It makes it sound obscene if you censor it.
Okay.
So just play the
okay.
Censor.
Hi, I'm Bill O'Reilly. Thanks for watching us tonight. The Democrats get their butts.
New York Yankee slugger A-Rod is accused of
his cousin.
I like that both of you come on, you and your new colleague from West Virginia, come on hardball some night and some right on the air. I want to see the thing. I want to see you guys together.
This guy's about to start people again.
Coming up, Jason Aldean and those Little Big Town with Ariana Grande.
Hello Kitty convention. They're just everywhere. I still have that taste in my mouth, by the way.
Okay, on to some entertainment news for you. Taylor Swift just more than 1 million
Even today, women can be for taking too many bathroom breaks.
They ended up making the media leave about an hour and a half ago so they could bring in the dogs.
You fell to the ground.
Yes, ma'am.
After you her in the behind.
Yes, ma'am.
Believe me, I my way through the Iowa State Fair. And if you got within 5 feet of me, it was probably because I was trying to you.
Mr. Bear, if you let us in, we can teach you how to your own.
Really?
See?
I'd like that. Come on in.
Now, this would be good if you didn't make it, though.
No, I stole it from Kimmel.
Oh, were you playing Kimmel's bits on our show?
Sorry.
Oh, that's lame.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, that's not good. Oh, John. This is not okay.
This is something we could do.
Yeah, but then do it.
Oh,
okay. Then I have to play an out clip because that was stupid. You're ripping off Jimmy Kimmel. Who even watches Jimmy Kimmel?
I don't know.
This is.
I'm waiting.
Yeah, well, I'm recovering. I'm recomposing myself here for a moment. My goodness.
Recomposing.
I'm decomposing. I'm decomposing myself.
Decomposing yourself.
Here is Charlie Rangel with Brawl.
That guy's still alive?
Yeah, oh yeah. Charlie Rangel is a prominent. Is he senator or congressman? I think is he congressman?
He's a congressman, corrupt congressman. No,
can you?
He was busted for corruption, and he just keeps running. And the locals just say, "Yeah, we'll keep voting him in. We don't want any white guys in there."
Well, that's his message too.
I want to give you a chance, Congressman. You and I have known each other for a long time to clarify controversial remarks you said at a Governor Cuomo rally in New York last week. You said, and I'll read it specifically, some of them, you're referring to Republicans out there, believe that slavery isn't over and that they won the Civil War. All right, what did you mean by that?
I meant that they used to call themselves Dixiecrats. These were slave-holding states. They've been frustrated with the Emancipation Proclamation. They turned over, became Republicans. Then they became Tea Party people. And these are the people that are trying to frustrate people from voting, changing the voting rights that we fought so hard for. And all I'm saying is, if you want to challenge the statistics, find out where the slaveholding states are, find out whether they were Dixiecrats, went Republican, find out where the Tea Party is. And I'm just saying that it's unfortunate America doesn't deal with the problem of racism, but until we acknowledge that it exists and fight hard to eradicate it, then we still got to be frustrated by people. They all come from the South, and they all have these feelings about superiority, and that's true whether you're picking cotton or whether you're president of the United States.
So you're doubling down on those remarks. You're not walking away from them because, as you know, they caused quite a stir, raising the specter of racism out there. And I want to point out to you, an African-American Republican was elected the United States Senator in South Carolina, Tim Scott.
We're not talking about America. We're not talking about the advancements that we've made. A black president, the explosive number of African-American and others that are now in the Congress and holding. We're talking about a cancer that we have in the United States of America. America knows who they are. They know how they feel. And we're talking about dealing with them.
Got it.
I'm telling you, I'm glad I played that clip. You were sitting on this thing.
Yeah, you like it?
Yeah, that was a great clip. In fact, if you hadn't given me clip of the day, I'm almost give it to you.
Yeah,
that was a good clip. But that's But that's a classic corrupt prick.
That guy's a dick.
Who's using, the race card in a way to keep getting reelected. Well, he's the one who's the big racist.
But allow me to ask you a question.
Works great, by the way.
Yeah. Am I really just blind to it? Am I really not seeing it?
Seeing what?
The racism that everyone keeps talking about.
Yeah, probably It's not. I don't. It's not as well. It was the white vote that put Obama in. How racist can you be?
But
I think you had that other clip that one like last week or the week before with that woman who was black, and the CNBC or MSNBC was going on and on trying to make it a race issue, and it wasn't. She's in Utah, which is lily white.
Right. But maybe I'm just not seeing it. Maybe
you're not seeing it.
I'm not. Is it really that bad?
No, it's not bad at all.
I thought we've progressed quite a bit.
Well, talking about race.
No,
I can't do that. I'm not going to do the segue. So I'm done.
All right. Are you doing?
Yes, I am.
Good.
I will be.
Who else is on the show?
2 people I've never heard of.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. Okay. Well, then good. I'll have to watch. Although I'm
you got other things to do.
Yeah, I got to play basketball with Mickey.
Basketball?
Yeah. She wanted.
You even know how to dribble? A basketball?
Yeah. Of course I know how to dribble. I know how to. Yes. But she's never shot hoops, and we have the.
She's never shot hoops.
No, sir. And I bought her a basketball.
Well, she's tall enough. She should be a woman basketball player, but I think it's a little... okay, never mind.
Yeah, please.
Have fun.
Yeah.
You have to dribble with... You have to bounce the ball with one hand only at a time. You can't do it the way
I'm sure she knows how to dribble.
I'm talking about the ball.
Yeah. Wow. Look, just because you got in trouble with Mimi for saying that the beauty tends to fade, don't try and get me in trouble. This is not...
Hey, beauty tends to fade.
It does. Yeah. All right. Then
he never fades, huh?
Yeah. Huh? There you go. Now you're talking. All right. I'm working on a couple stories for Thursday's show.
Okay.
Getting lots of info in about the extra 1,500 advisors we've sent to Iraq.
Oh, yeah. We're up to 3,000 now.
Yeah. That's ludicrous. Then we'll see what happens to Valerie Jarrett.
She's going nowhere. She's his confidant.
Yes. Well,
she contributes more than his wife ever will. Probably for different reasons.
Okay. Thank you all for supporting the program. Dvorak.org/NA is where you can find ways to support us financially. Since we do not take any advertising, it is the preferred way.
Otherwise, we couldn't talk about any of the stuff we generally talk about. It just would not be possible. It's the only reason this show has and discusses the material it discusses is because we do not have this corrupt influence.
That, and we don't do any meetings.
We don't do what? Nudes?
No meetings. No meetings. It's about
meetings.
Yeah. Coming to you from FEMA Region 6. In the morning, everybody, I'm Adam Curry.
And from Northern Silicon Valley, I'm John C. Dvorak.
Talk to you on Thursday, right here on No Agenda.
That's how we go. That's how we roll.
That's all, folks.
And that's the story. There's a need for a rescue mission. When the world is threatened, when the world needs help, it calls on America. And that's the story.
We are here, #America, near our hashtag target, soon.
It was worth it. It was worth it.
Adios, mofo.
The best podcast in the universe. Dvorak.org/NA